Turn toward me and look so weak. I've never seen you with such tired eyes. And everything we said we'd be, we just traded for a suit coat and a tie. And underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Your toes, fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. You're silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. You're silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. There's no one around. Lay back and take your socks and shoes right off. That natural light is so damn polite, can make you feel just like you were young again. Standing underneath the rows of trees, I can see where the ocean meets the sky. Under our clothes, a fire grows. We are ready for this life of running wild. We're running wild. Underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. Silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. Silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild.
Good evening, all of you beautiful human beings, and welcome to the last week of playoffs here in EURC, the last week of the tournament therefore as well. And this is the last day of playoffs before we hit our finals day that'll be kicking off at 2 p.m. on Sunday the 25th of April. And we're going to spam that date at you all evening long, so you don't forget to show up this Sunday. But in the meantime, we have a few more matches to play. We have just 8 teams remaining out of the 36 that we've begun this tournament with. 6 of them will be making appearances on finals day. That means we're saying goodbye to 2 teams at the very end of it all here tonight. It's going to be an exciting one. We still have 3 German, 3 Dutch, and 2 UK teams left in this tournament. 4 UK teams, 3 German teams, 1 Dutch team, and heading towards final day. We're guaranteed 2 German teams. We're guaranteed 2 teams from the UK. We're guaranteed only a single Dutch team, and then there'll be a German team and a UK team to fight it out at the end of it. And Tylacto, I'm going to come to you first because, I think you were one of the people at the start of this tournament saying you kind of were expecting the UK teams to continue to underperform. And I think saying right now that there's 3 UK teams that could make it in, only 1 Dutch team, that's maybe a little bit surprising.
I feel like I want to say it is surprising. Part of me is like, yeah, it's definitely correct in that we didn't want to get our hopes up anymore after last EURC. Certainly the weight of Sunday is hanging over us, and the possibility of the UK having 4 teams, the majority, the highest of any other country, is honestly, it really is surprising. Certainly in the manner of which it's happened. Of course, I'm still kind of shook by that Game 7 win by Portsmouth over Rotterdam, taking them to the winners' final. And as you say, we'll find out that final spot in our very first series.
Yeah, we will. You're right. It's going to be 2 not 2 UK teams running into each other. It's going to be that German and UK matchup there at the very beginning of it all. Something we'll talk about before we really get into that matchup is the fact, that a lot of those UK teams have just been running down into each other in that lower bracket. We could potentially have had a couple more teams, but they've kind of just been team killing repeatedly of the UK teams.
Yeah, it's, if you were going to do this tactically, band together as a group of British university friends and try, you couldn't really do much worse than this in terms of making sure that everyone you would want to get through is getting through at once. I mean, I think it is very fair to say that a lot of teams we might have expected to do quite well underperformed in the group stage, and that definitely didn't help them. We see teams like Salford and Loughborough starting right down in that losers bracket. Salford obviously made a brilliant run of it. We'll see them later tonight, but that had to mean that then reigning British champions Loughborough had to go home in round 1 of the losers bracket. We saw a lot of teams in that losers bracket in particular coming up against each other from Britain in elimination matches. Like you say, not been brilliant if you're looking at it from that point of view, but it's, produced some fantastic Rocket League, so we can't really complain.
Exactly. From a purely neutral standpoint, I have to say I have absolutely no complaints about how this lower bracket has played out. Indeed, how the entire playoffs has played out. But I fear you have to look at it and you say the Dutch teams, they did come out of groups looking very strong. I think, especially if we want to start getting specifics, both Groningen teams going out 0-4 in that losers bracket, Tilburg then getting a little bit unlucky, running up against Bournemouth and still managing to take them 7 series. I think we're a little bit disappointed not to see more Dutch teams here in our top 8.
I think it goes without saying that I am very disappointed indeed, but it is something that obviously happens in Rocket League. You can't really have your team making it through every single time. It is kind of a momentum based, and at a moment you kind of look at the team and say, oh, they're playing good, they're playing bad. And in a group stage you have a little bit more wiggle room, so them not really doing great in the lower bracket, maybe they just were a little bit too scared. Maybe just thought, oh, we got knocked down early, this is not going to be looking good. Well, they're gonna have to deal with it, since there's only one Dutch team who can even remotely redeem the nation. That is Erasmus, who's obviously waiting in the lower quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Erasmus Rotterdam will now be looking, to carry the weight of a nation on their shoulders. But it's going to be a little bit tough for them, as they will be coming up against the winners of Salford and Beckett. Tylacto, it's going to be our second matchup tonight. I know you've been a big fan of Beckett throughout this tournament, but coming up against Salford, they're both coming off 4-0 wins, and that's going to be an exciting second matchup when we get to it there.
Yeah, really a premium matchup, but the massive question mark is all about Salford. You were talking about Loughborough coming in as, domestic champions into the playoff bracket before getting knocked out by Salford. Salford looked favourites to become domestic champions in NSC this split, and yet, my boy, it did not happen at all. Of course, Bournemouth, who play in the first game, now have that crown in convincing fashion on the day, and of course that was the last time we saw Salford. And when that's the last note they've sort of left off on, it's like they come into today, what are we going to get out of them? Are we going to see them return to strength? And I still think they come in as favourites against Leeds Beckett. Leeds Beckett have certainly been consistently performing up and above their call, but in terms of the premium teams, the likes of Bournemouth and the likes of Salford, they haven't been able to take series off. I mean, they took it off Loughborough, but as we found out, Loughborough were on the downtrend display. It's no secret. At the end of the day, they had high standards. It was always going to be hard to keep them up. But yeah, coming into that match, Salford, if their mental's still broken, like something will have changed in them from that day. That experience will not be a pleasant one, but it will be memorable for them. So how they come off that and how Bournemouth come off of their domestic championship is another question. Bournemouth, a team who have always been a mixed bag. You never really know which one you're going to get, whether it's going to be strawberry or black currant. Personally, I like black currant, but like it's like with Bournemouth, FHDW, they'll be playing, of course, with a substitute. We should mention. I think it's Vafarin who's not available, but Mamba mentality. What a sub, and what a sub indeed. They actually beat ULB with him. So honestly, about as much of a side grade as you'll get in terms of a substitute. Obviously, they're massive underdogs against Bournemouth, and when you look at results, you go, yeah, you know, Bournemouth, they're totally going to sweep this one, aren't they? But then it is Bournemouth. They just, like I'm saying, they just don't sweep things. And you can say the NSE finals was a sweep, but with the game advantage, technically, no.
Yeah, technically it didn't count, but like you said, I think you gave me about 4 or 5 different segues there, Tyler. We're going to try and hit as many of them as you can now. No, in the best way possible, you know, because you've set up this series pretty well. Bournemouth are coming in very strong. FHDW, they've been coming in and are a team as well that I think maybe have at times in this tournament look like they've been slipping up. And I'm going to bring it over to you actually to talk about Bournemouth, because what I like to set them up as either raspberry or blackcurrant. I'll say sometimes they come in, they look like licorice. They look like the flavour that nobody wants to get involved with at all. And tonight, you know, we're kind of expecting this full roster that they have is still unbeaten in the tournament. They should probably be able to show up, right?
You've really set me up here. I'm now going to have to cast this, and I'm fully aware that somewhere at home there'll be some idiot like me who thinks it's funny to look at casters on the stream and make funny videos about them on Twitter. So I'm not going to say anything other than when we saw Bournemouth the other weekend in the NSE final, I firmly believe that was some of the best University of Rocket League I've seen in a very, very long time. To come out against, you know, Salford, yes, weren't playing to the best of their abilities. I think it's fair to say they didn't quite get it going in that series, but it was it was a best of 9 series. They had plenty of time for that. I think you've got to give a lot of credit for Bournemouth there, making them look like they weren't playing as well as they could be. You know, I think Bournemouth did a brilliant job of shutting them down. I think they played some fantastic Rocket League. Yeah, they have to be the favourites for me, but you never know. Never know with these.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, look, that's enough talking about Bournemouth. As much as they are an exciting team, I think potentially one of the scariest teams still left in this bracket. There is 2 teams in this match, and FHDW come in. They secured a 2nd place in group stages, in a Group A that looked a little bit tough, and I mean, had some good teams coming out of it as well. Ever since those groups, I fear FHDW have maybe been looking like they were on a little bit of a downward slide. They had a tough matchup against Nungeon Stuttgart, who were playing with a sub in round 1 of the upper bracket, only scraping it out in 7 wins. From there, they lost a series that maybe they could have won, and they finally turned it around against ULB. But ULB playing with a sub, I don't think, is it fair to say they've turned the corner, or are we still looking at this FHDW as a team struggling to refine their footing in the tournament?
I think in general, if you win against ULB, that doesn't really mean that much. And that's not saying, I mean, that is saying that Brazil is just unpredictable. They are inconsistent, and that is what really makes it hard to kind of gauge how well FHDW were playing, or whether it was just Brazil laying back and not really having that much interest. It's going to be really interesting to see how FHDW come out. I think that's the most important part, and to really set a strong example and really say, hey, look, we might have had a little bit of upset in results, but we're on the uptrend right now. Even though we're in the lower bracket, we're going to prove ourselves. If they start off against Bournemouth, Talax has said sweeps aren't really likely coming out of Bournemouth. But if FHDW don't start off well, I'm very much thinking that might just happen.
Yeah, and it's something, Tylak, though, that you've kind of been a proponent of when you are coming in as underdogs, is try and catch that other team off guard a little bit, just rock them onto the back foot, and especially a team of Bournemouth, probably susceptible to something like that if FHDW can have the confidence coming in.
Yeah, certainly. I think we saw the likes of it, a perfect example against Tilburg, of course. They really just sort of took Bournemouth completely by surprise. It's the way it similarly is at all levels of Rocket League when you have a designated underdog, where it's no argument they're less favored to win. It's always like once the favorites start winning, it's so hard to stop that snowball, that mental block that, oh, yep, they're better, and yep, they are winning now. It's all about how hard can you hit with that sucker punch, and can you get yourself a foot up enough that you can see the series out. At the end of the day, FHD's best chance of moving on through this lower bracket is with their own sweep, because once Bournemouth get going, I don't think they can stop them.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at it as well, though, and look at this Bournemouth, who were a little bit tested, as Tylacto was saying, by Tilburg on that last Monday. And the fact that it went all the way to the 7 games, despite the fact that we keep talking up Bournemouth as one of the better teams left in this tournament, Hyperia, is there a chance, maybe they've been scared a little bit serious, after you saw that Tilburg series, you saw how, like, they were getting a little bit nervous in those later games. Are they going to come in today with the game plan focus, having maybe worked a little bit harder to, make sure they can put this one to bed quicker?
I don't know. Tilburg really surprised everyone, and that's what brought them to Game 7, and that is what I just said. FHDW has to do the same thing and really surprised everyone. But Tilburg has been on that, not even upward trend, but really set the bar high, sweeping Abe, sweeping their next opponent, and then coming up against Bournemouth, one of the favorites of the tournament. So getting into a Game 7, I don't think FHDW are quite at the same level as Tilburg, but who knows? It's Rocket League. Upsets can happen at any point. I don't really see it happening necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can feel it. My analysts are chomping at the bit to get into predictions. Before we do that, we're going to touch a little bit on the final game of the night. We have a little bit of a delay here as the players were not happy with the first server we had. So that's why we have a couple of extra minutes here on the desk. And I guess we've been talking a lot about underdog stories, Atch. And we have, I think, one of the biggest underdog stories is any match that involves Berlin Phoenix has been in this tournament. That'll be coming up in Game 3.
Yeah, that one I'm really keen for. Very glad that I've, managed to weasel my way onto the casting desk for that one, because I think it's going to be good no matter what. Obviously, you've got a cross-city, rivalry going on there. Not something that I think, maybe someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but not something we've seen before in this tournament. At least I'm pretty sure, to have two teams from the same city, particularly this late in the tournament, is, a real treat. Both teams played brilliantly. It's really, really good to see. And again, I think, when we come around to that one in a couple of hours' time, I think most of us here will be saying the same kind of things. If the Basilisks can come out swinging, they can get that one game, make Berlin go, hang on a minute, it could work. They sucker punch hard enough, and that could be a really, really entertaining series.
Yeah, pause, maybe forced Berlin Phoenix to take stock, and Berlin Basilisks, I mean, they've been playing with confidence in this tournament so far, so we'll keep our eyes on that matchup. Of course, a lot of Rocket League to be played before that, and finally, I'm going to give all of you a chance to make your predictions as to this Game 1, and we're going to come, I believe, first of all, across to Hyperia. And Hyperia, you've already kind of made your feelings known on the matter, but FHDW versus Bournemouth, who's going to take the series?
Yeah, I've made my feelings pretty clear, and I don't want to come off as a surprise all of a sudden. I usually just clearly state my intent, and that is exactly what I'm going to be sticking with. Bournemouth are going to take it home in a 4-1 fashion, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Tylacto, you're probably going to say something similar. Bournemouth to take it home, but maybe not going to pull off the full sweep, as it's Bournemouth, they tend to lose focus at times in the middle of a series.
Yeah, they certainly do lose focus, you're right. I mean, apparently the Sheffield Saints player, Luke Nova, has his focus on you, Atch. He's telling you that apparently you are fit, is the word that I've been seeing there in the Twitch chat. Speaking of Twitch chat, they are equally confident in Bournemouth as well. It's really hard not to predict them, in fairness. I would say 4-2 Bournemouth. I do think FHCW have got it in them. Even with man-by mentality playing, I think maybe that even alleviates more pressure off of them. I think Bournemouth, it's a good chance for them to make a statement, though. If they can put this away convincingly, more convincingly than I expect them to, I always expect some wavy time with Bournemouth, then that's when we'll start to really believe they really are one of, if not the best UK team, and potentially one of the tournament's best hopes of taking down Berlin Phoenix.
Fingers crossed that we get to see that matchup later on if Bournemouth can manage to stay informed. But listen, we'll come finally now to Atch. And Atch, you've already got the rest of the desk down. Envious of your good looks. You could go for the big brain play. Make us envious of how smart you are. Predict FHCW, and then if they pull off the upset, you'd look so intelligent.
It's become something of a staple of mine, I think, to go against people for fun. It's very enjoyable. I don't think it would be an enjoyable endeavour if I did it tonight. as much as I would love to continue my string of underdog predictions, I think this one's a little bit of a step too far. I think Bournemouth, I use this a lot. If they play this game 100 times, I think they're going to win it 80, maybe even 90 times. And I think, FHDW might make it close. If they get that sucker punch in game one, Bournemouth are a team I'd have pinned down to be that kind of team that gets shocked by an unexpected fight from their opponent and just fall to bits. But I don't think that's going to happen tonight. I think, 4-1 we're looking at, 4-2 perhaps.
Yeah, and I'm going to join the rest of my desk, and I'm going to say if Tilburg did manage to do it when Bournemouth were maybe a little bit unaware last week, I don't think FHDW are going to do it against the Bournemouth who will surely have come in. Surely they'll have prepped a little bit harder after nearly losing in the lower bracket last week. I say that. It's still Bournemouth. We have no idea how this game is going to play out, but luckily we get to get into it right now, and we're going to leave it to Atch and Hyperia to take this one away.
Well, it is about time. It is about time that we can actually get the match underway, and joined by the hottest caster, obviously. I'm incredibly glad that we can get FHDW and Bournemouth in the first series today.
Yeah, I don't think. While I think Bournemouth will win this out, I think any individual game is likely to be quite close. I think these guys. There's not a huge gulf in class. It's just one of those where you think actually Bournemouth are going to win 60% of the time, and that means over the course of a long series, they will almost always come out on top. And I think FHDW, they will probably manage to keep it close, even playing with their sub, who I must confess, haven't seen that much of. But I think they'll manage, and we'll just have to see. Obviously, depending on which Bournemouth you get, they could keep it a lot closer than that.
Well, the Bournemouth that's coming out is looking a little bit shaky in defense. Almost made the save, but it's not really that comfortable. Cloud, can he get a pass upfield towards Onos? Yes, he can. Onos not getting a shot, puts it to the corner. Follow-up will be coming through out of Cloud, or at least it seemed to be the case. Instead, he just faked it out, drove underneath. Will with a decent challenge, sends it to the back foot once more. Bournemouth, they're going right now. Good communication. Shot comes on target. Minoti makes the initial save out of FHDW. Are they out of defense right now? It seems to be the case, as Will completely whiffs the ball.
Yeah, not a fantastic start, but plenty of time to get things moving for both teams. Best of 7, of course, so lots and lots of time for them. But both teams showing little bits of flair, a little bit of promise there from Bournemouth. Didn't come to anything in the end, and looks like we'll get a bit more midfield play.
Always testing each other out, and Bournemouth versus FHDW. And that is something that Tylax already kind of hinted at, but the first game is always so pivotal. Bournemouth, if they get off to a good start, if they win this game, then it just solidifies their position as the favourite, and from that point out, I don't really see a comebackable way out of FHDW. That being said, this one is currently quite close. Bournemouth are making mistakes, they're missing the ball left, right and centre. Almost cannot get a touch here either, and Zim clears it out.
Yeah, I mean, they've looked resilient on defense, FHDW. I think they'll have to be to get very far in this series. You would expect most of the ball possession to be red for this series, I would think. But, they can probably turn this around on the counter if they get their chance. It's just going to be a matter of not conceding first. And just as I say that, Onos strikes, had about 100 seconds gone, and Bournemouth are 1 to the good.
It's really Bournemouth who've been putting pressure on FHDW, continuously battering the backboard, trying to get shots up every single time. Bournemouth, they finally are able to break through. Sometimes you do see that they have a lot of pressure but aren't actually able to break through. They don't have the consistency or the accuracy of shots at that moment, but they do very much find it here early on, and that could spell trouble for FHDW. They need to get a counter goal relatively soon, in my opinion. Instead of almost dribbling down the opposing end, puts it past one, doesn't get a bump on Medoti. Counter-attack needs to be swift and completely relentless. In with a decent block on it, can't get the centre quite properly. As Mamba went for the bump. FHDW, they're still in attack, but Will clears it out.
Yeah, I think this is going to be interesting for us, having all predicted Bournemouth to win. This is, I think, a miniature test of what we were saying about FHDW on the panel, We said if they lose the first game, it's looking unlikely that they'll be able to turn it around. They've lost the first goal, so this is kind of a sort of miniature version of, the whole thing. You can say, well, if they manage to turn it around here, that mentality is really promising from them if they can turn it around and get a goal back. But they've left themselves very open here. It looks like they might concede again. Zim manages to get back just in time, but time becoming less and less on the FHDW side. And that's not going to help.
yeah, that's not going to help them whatsoever. That is putting them in even a worse position. Zim completely whiffing them all. And this is something that is just different about the teams right now. Bournemouth have had those same kind of misses. This one is a little bit detrimental, but it's very much Bournemouth get away with those kind of mistakes more, since one, they recover better, and two, FHDW just aren't really as punishing as Bournemouth. Now with 2 minutes remaining in the match, shot apparently does come out of Zim. Wasn't on target whatsoever. Will dribbling down the end and getting the pass to, and now finding the far corner. That kind of solidifies their lead and position to win.
Yeah, I think, you know, they've FHDW now. It's going to be a challenge about resetting, going again in the next game, getting maybe 1-2 goals towards the end if they can. Obviously, help swing the momentum for them going forward. But I think, yeah, like you say, they've just looked a bit. You know, I think maybe they've come out expecting to defend, which is a very realistic expectation if you're on the side of FHDW and coming up against a team like this Bournemouth one. But at the same time, you want to still be there to press any opportunities you're given. Bournemouth are ready when the mistake is there. They will capitalise on it because they are positioning really well, getting really close up to it in case something goes wrong for FHDW. But on the flip side, it's not really happening for them. I think that's why they haven't had as many chances off the back of Bournemouth mistakes.
And that is kind of the epitome of a defensive playstyle.
Yeah.
You need to have such a good capitalization on the mistakes that do end up happening, because you need to be so swift, so accurate. And right now, that's just not something being shown out of FHDW. 1 minute remain is, in theory, enough time to try and get that comeback. But it's not really looking that likely. They've had 2 shots throughout the entire game. They need to put and more shots on target and actually score them as well. Zim taking it up to the skies. Can he actually find the opening goal? If not one that is going to get the comeback. Zim gets a second touch. Now Minotti backflipping completely, and such a great opportunity is squandered.
But didn't turn around this first game in favour of FHDW. What a goal to kick off the series with. Would have been incredible. Zim trying again. He doesn't get it off the bar again. This is the kind of thing that can really ruin a mental going into a subsequent game. I'd be absolutely fuming at this stage. But FHDW, all credit to them. They're continuing their attack. There's not much left for them in game 1 here, but they're still looking to play positively. What's worrying for them is the amount of confidence Bournemouth have, even after a couple of goals. Look at that bump from Cloud.
Oh, this might just be another one. Oh, this is going to stay on the ground, and Bournemouth take home game number 1. And, well, if this now goes according to the way we all thought it was going to go, then we only have 3 more games ahead of us. But FHDW, this is always something initially you can say, yeah, Bournemouth is the favourite, so if they win the first game, they're going to just completely sweep the floor with FHDW. But realistically, we haven't had much history. We don't really know everything right now. We're just basing that on how Bournemouth have looked against other teams. Maybe FHDW do manage to find a form where they completely obliterate Bournemouth. That being said, I don't really think it's likely, but we do have to keep that in mind getting into game number 2.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, if someone came up to you in the street and asked you about University Rocket League, you'd first think they're a bit weird. But then if they were to ask you something along the lines of, pick a team that you think will go up in a series and then just really take their eye off the ball and lose 1, maybe 2 games, I think a lot of people would be picking teams like Bournemouth straight off the bat. You know, that's promising for FHDW. They might need that gift, you know, they might just need to win a game, not necessarily because they got better, but because Bournemouth got a bit worse. And that could kickstart things for them, you know, if they then know that they can beat them, and they can beat them, you know, that game for 3-0, you know, Bournemouth certainly took control of it, but for the first couple of minutes, it was very much in FHDW's hands. They could have easily turned it around. They had some promising offense. Zim unlucky, I think, not to get some, you know, credit on the score sheet for his work there. So going into game 2, I don't think it's panic stations for them just yet. They've got plenty of time. They just need to not make me worry about them like that.
This all just might end up happening. They're in full attack, Bournemouth, and this is so scary already. FHDW, it is still level, but they are not off to a great start. Zim getting a second touch, almost in a little bit more situation now as well. Cloud getting bumped off the backboard. Decent recovery, but is it going to be good enough for the shot coming in? Mamba gets it right on us. Cloud taking it to the side. Almost this time in pre-jumping. If Bournemouth at the game number 2, 0-0 scoreline, are feeling this confident, then they're about to get punished. No, they are not. This is what I mean. FHDW cannot capitalize.
Yeah, again, that's the kind of thing that you'd think maybe that's your chance to at least put a shot on net, you know, try and get one up in the game. There's a brilliant shot off the post. Cloud's got a horrible touch. He'll get back to it well, though. Off it goes to the right-hand side. Onoz bearing down on it, but he won't get there before Zim does. Up onto the Bournemouth backboard again. There's Will. Down the field it goes. Onoz looking for a great redirect. Gets it, but it's easy for Mamba. And FHDW, again, feeling most of the pressure, but so far coping all right.
And I do like that, what one of the Germans said in chat there. They're just taking a step back right now so they can actually generate more speed into the rest of the series.
Yeah.
So,
Saving their fuel.
you know, yeah, exactly. They're just driving backwards so they can actually generate more speed and have a bigger, well, I don't know the English word for it, but as he said, Anlauf, indeed. As they are seemingly getting more into offense and they're getting more and more dangerous. Will is in an awkward position once again, puts it far away. Zim is also in that same awkward position. Almost, you're not even a goal leading, up in this game. Why are you being so cool?
Well, you know, that's Bournemouth. It's a fairly Marmite playstyle, I think. A lot of people might find that a little bit disrespectful, but it's, you know, it's put them top in the UK. They seem to be enjoying life in their new style at the minute. So you have to see. This is the kind of thing that can catch them out, though. Cloud, perhaps a little far forward. Maybe the pass was a little aggressive backwards. Madotti goes into the right corner. Onoz is there, clears it up, but it's going to get there from Mamba. Zim committed to that, I think, but he's now under the ball. Convincing offense now from FHDW. Madotti's going to keep the ball in. Bit of sustained pressure. 2 up from the backboard. Bournemouth certainly not infallible at the minute, but like you say, we still need FHDW to capitalise.
And that's the biggest problem right now. They're putting on an immense amount of pressure and already doubling the shots as they had in the last entire game. And we've just played half a game of Rocket League and they've already doubled that. Will off the ceiling. Can't get a second touch, but that will mean Mamba will also miss. Cloud to the backboard. Onoz should get a second touch. No flip reset out of him, so the recovery is going to be a little bit slower. Onoz for the back pass into Will. Will with the pass into Cloud. And he doesn't have the finish. The passing play was so immaculate. And the finishing, the shooting was something you'd see in a garbage can.
Yeah, it was so close from them. I'm not sure, maybe he was going for another pass, but it was certainly one too many if he was. Madotti looking for the air dribble carry, not going to get past Cloud with that, but that's going to be an awkward bounce. Will get the touch he would have wanted. Bournemouth again, certainly not immune to making mistakes on their defensive end. Will's gone all the way into the corner and bumped Onoz, which is a little bit unfortunate for them. Will up, gets a touch into his corner. Down to the left-hand side, plays it across his goal, but he would get the touch, so it's okay. Zim looking for a bump. The bumps from FHDW could really work for them. Here's a free shot. Madotti, again, can't quite get it. Both teams struggling to capitalise on opportunities at the minute.
And this is kind of why I wanted to give one game to FHDW, because Bournemouth are just goofing about, it feels like. Will all the way into the corner just to get a bump on Onoz for fun, for jokes. I mean, it really shows that they are... No, I don't want to say dominant, since in this game they're not dominant whatsoever, but they can very much decide the pace of the matchup. They can kind of decide what they want to do, and it's up to FATW to react. Now, 4 minutes gone, there's no goal on either side just yet, and this might just be golden goal scenario already.
Yeah, could well be. You know, with time ticking down, you think if either team score here, it's likely that that'll be the only goal we see. Mamba needs to make sure that no one gets to that. He's going to get to that now, though. Will doesn't manage. He avoids the bump well from Zim there. Cloud down the right hand side. Is he going to go for the back one? No, he's gone for a bump, but Mamba was up quickly. He's done well, actually. He's done really well there. He'll find Madotti. Madotti's missed the ball, but it's just gone wide. Getting really, really nervy now, and you can see why at 0-0.
Exactly. This is an incredibly intense scenario, especially for FATW. I feel like Bournemouth have got the confidence to pull through afterwards. FATW, they can't afford any mistakes. It drops Onoz in the center. He takes it to the sky. Will with a second touch, or the lack of rather. It's Bournemouth going at full blasters in the final seconds. It does drop to the ground, and we do have an overtime, a pivotal one for FATW. They can pull it level just off of the back of one goal right now.
Yeah, that's all they need, you know. But at the minute, it's looking like Bournemouth calling all the shots. Onoz with forcing a double commit there. That's going to bounce awkwardly for FHDW. Someone's up quickly at Zim. Zim's done really well there. Found Will, who's found Onoz. I did think that was a bit of a risky touch, but he knew what he was doing clearly. Mamba, that's an awkward bounce. That could really help FHDW. Madotti tries to play it off the ceiling, but no follow through from Zim. He's going to get to that one, though, and he might get back to it again here. Maybe a fake. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but either way, Bournemouth managed to get it clear. Half a minute gone in overtime, and again, FHDW having half chances but unable to put them through so far.
I feel like that's on both sides right now.
Yeah.
They're getting in front of the target, but they're not really making it threatening. It's not really looking amazing from either side in the attack as of right now, but Bournemouth, they're picking up the pace. Will might find himself an open net. Not the Mamba outspeeds him. Minotti off the sidewall. The takeoff wasn't really that great, and the follow-up is even worse. So there's no second touch. Mamba puts that right on us. Bournemouth, well, they have currently left FHDW scoreless in the entire series, and as I said, FHDW, if they manage to score their first goal of this series, they just pull the entire series level at the same time.
They do, and you know, I feel like Bournemouth might learn a lesson here. Well, they might not learn a lesson, they'll be taught it, I think. If FHDW score, the amount of times we've seen them, you know, flipping up onto the opponent's backboard, looking for some fantastic passing play. They haven't got it yet. If they'd have played it a bit more simply, they could have had something. Madotti very nearly got a crucial touch on the negative angle there. Mamba taking it to the wall, but he won't get there before Cloud gets to him. Zim into the corner, and that's a big clear all the way downfield from Will. Madotti's missed the ball, but he's faked out on us, so it should be okay. But as the overtime goes on and on, both teams yet to really have a meaningful chance.
And I think Bournemouth are a little bit quicker on the ball, but every single time they do get the ball, they throw it up in the air. They take the slow approach and actually go for an aerial play purely because they want to show off a little bit. But if they just go quicker, if they just try and outspeed FHDW, I feel like they can whip the ball around quicker and just more efficient. So Bournemouth, that could be a strategy for them. Instead, they have to be back on defense right now. Onus with an incredible save. Will has to bail them out and put it out to the side. There's still a shot coming through. Onus should be able to, but it's still right in front of the goal. Double commit coming out of Bournemouth. They get away with it for now, but FHDW, they're pressing the issue time and time again.
A huge double commit here. Mamba's in a really awkward spot. He gets bailed out by Madotti. On us, looking for that sidewall. He's only found Mamba. That's a free shot. Zim must get there, and he does. The first goal in over 10 minutes of gameplay for FHDW, but it doesn't matter because they have now tied the series here at 1.
I think Cloud thought that Mamba was going for a shot himself, and instead Mamba puts it to the teammate. An incredibly smart play in Bournemouth. They're messing about. They're, well, I feel like not really taking it serious. Have just cost them a game. But let's see how they actually get back. Let's see whether this was just a one-game kind of thing where they really decided, hey, we're going to mess about. We're just going to take this loose. Or whether they actually, well, just got beat outright by FHDW. I don't know. I don't know which way this is going to go.
No, it's certainly, for the neutral viewer, that's added a lot more spice, I think, to this series. You know, I think it would be fair of me to say, at least in part, that was FHDW's kind of slightly free win. Bournemouth, I think, weren't giving it 100% on the let's just score however we can kind of charts there. They were trying something really fancy practically every time they got into the offensive half. If that had come off, you know, that's the gamble that these teams play. If that had come off, they would have popped off. It would have been really good. They probably would have kept going for them. And, you know, once you get one, that's a kind of snowball thing. You know, you get more and more. You go for fancier things. They start working. It's a really good cycle to find yourself in. They didn't get any. And, you know, that could perhaps come back to bite them. I would still think that they can probably turn it around in Game 3 if they come out swinging. But FHDW, they've got something to put their teeth around now. So let's see what they can do.
I feel like if FHDW are coming out and swinging, they can't just randomly flail their arms around. They're going to have to come out Mike Tyson type swinging, otherwise they won't knock Bournemouth out. They've got a solid chin right ahead where they're able to take a lot of punches. This start from Bournemouth is looking very silly indeed. Mamba off to the backward gets to Minotti, and something that just took them 10 minutes or 10 plus minutes, they just done it in 7.
It was just sort of Bournemouth encapsulated. They play some of the best Rocket League you've seen. They mess up a kickoff at the start of a game, and now they're 1-0 down. That, I think, will probably drive them on in this Game 3 to try and actually score any kind of goal rather than just, you know, the kind of goal that will feature on a Clips compilation. But that said, FHDW really looking like they're doing quite well for themselves. They've used that momentum that they've gained to really bolster themselves up here. They might get another attack. Where's their player? No one there, but Honours has made a risky touch. Cloud comes in and bails him out. The shot perhaps from Cloud. He'll need a flick. He gets it. Mamba makes that a bit more awkward for himself than perhaps was necessary, but FHDW get it away and their lead stays at 1.
And Cloud getting the second touch, gets it around the pitch. Cloud actually getting the follow-up. I'm not too sure what happened here. FHDW, it feels like they kind of threw away a goal. Cloud, the recovery was incredibly speedy, but Mama's touch was completely lacking, and that is Bournemouth equalising.
Well, you can say that's, that's one apiece not only in the game, but in rather shoddy goals to concede from either side. So, back to neutrality. Perhaps I think the fairest way to have this game 3. I don't think either team really did much that was worthy of a goal in either case. So now that they've got one each, not such a big deal. Onoz looking to clear it out. FHDW, though, are playing a lot better. That ball actually made it all the way to Mamba, but no one told him in time. Oh, nearly got the fake. Midotti, Zim up for Midotti on the backboard. He didn't go. Zim's going to get there again. A lot of time afforded. Onoz in absolute no man's land. Mamba bumps him into the ball. A pool shot gifts Zim and FHDW the lead.
Onoz wasn't playing Rocket League. He was playing Waiting Simulator the entire time, and turns out he waited a little bit too long. Mamba mentality storming through and capitalizing, seeing that sitting in the net, and that was completely his prey. Cloud in a bad position now as well, and this is very much seeming as if it's not just a one-off game by FHDW. They are in the lead, but Bournemouth are slacking on pretty much every single touch that they are making. Cloud now gets a good hit to the backboard. Where's the follow-up? Bournemouth, they're looking for it themselves. Onoz is up for it, beating Midotti and getting the second touch, but that second touch only clears it away. This is absolute shambles, and somehow FHDW get it away.
Yeah, keyword somehow, but, it doesn't really matter how, I suppose. It's not in the back of their net, so that's something. Mamba challenges early. He's done really well here. Left Onoz in a horrible position, and Onoz has done well to get 2, but it's not really going to matter. Midotti's there. That's a great shot. Will flips across his net, and he'll manage to be helped out there by Cloud. Off the ball goes down the field again. Onoz looking for something spectacular. He might get it. He didn't quite connect with the Musty. Bournemouth, for playing at 1 goal down and potentially 2 now, are playing with immense confidence.
And what you just said is exactly my problem every single time with Onoz. Onoz going for something spectacular. Brother, just take it simple. You're a goal down. Try and be speedier, because that is exactly your strong suit in this entire series. The German side can very easily shut down you going for mechanics, because that's something they can see in their rank as well. A little bit of a musty is not going to catch them off guard. You outpacing them is very much going to catch them off guard. You're just showing spectacular speed every single time, which I know they're capable of right now. And Cloud, he explains it right there, puts it past 2 defenders purely by just being quick, and then almost gets the goal. Thank you, Bournemouth. This is exactly my point.
Team, they play mechanically because that's what they can do. They play mechanically because they are mechanically gifted players. Individually, they don't, maybe not gel overly well together. Maybe they're a new team. They rely on the mechanics to get them through. Bournemouth can do so much more, which, like you, is why I get frustrated when I don't see them doing much more. Their passing that they've shown this series so far has been brilliant when they've got it, but they just choose not to do it sometimes, and that was simple as you like, but they all count for 1, so why not just do it?
What a surprise. Onoz once again in front of the net, completely trying to take it. Yeah, exactly. Trying to take it up. Cloud somehow stole that goal. Cloud, props, hats off to you, brother, for stealing this goal. That was very tough.
Yeah, I mean, again, if he saves that, I think everyone shouts at him, but he didn't, so he'll claim he meant to do that the whole time. But they've scored. They've scored twice in very quick succession, actually. Not great for FHDW. But they've already scored twice in this game. They have done really well. Their offense has been good. Zim looking to create some more here. Over Cloud it goes. Mamba not far enough back post to make the shot count, but he'll get another chance at it here on Ozpass. Passes it out to Will on the right-hand side there. Will get it, and he'll turn it infield looking for a pinch. Bournemouth again with that trademark confidence. Now that they're a goal up, perhaps a bit more warranted.
maybe they just throw it away. It was a good drop down indeed, but no follow-up coming through. Onoz, there we go, showing his speed off to the backboard. Second touch coming out of Will. It's going to be off the backboard once more. FHDW, they're just waiting patiently on the ground and kind of waiting for Bournemouth to put an accurate shot on target. Well, this is an accurate shot on target. Mamba makes a save. Cloud coming in with a pre-flip, and that is a thing of beauty indeed. Cloud scoring the 2-goal lead.
Mamba had a bit more time perhaps than Zim let him know. That's a brilliant chip from Cloud. I thought Zim would have everything covered, but not when Cloud's on the ball. It's a brilliant shot from him. Bournemouth 2 to the good here in game number 3. But you know, there's plenty of time if you're FHDW. You just need to get a better kickoff than that.
yeah, Cloud, once again, it's just speedy. I must say, that last goal, that was absolutely delicate. The pre-flip, and I think that's something that's really underrated in Rocket League in general, how hard pre-flips are to do, because him getting the perfect lift on that, it requires so much planning ahead of how that car is going to spin, how he can manipulate that spin using the sticks himself. FHDW, they're threatening an attack with 50 seconds and 3 goals behind. It's not really looking that likely. And this shows a massive contrast in the games that FHDW win and the games that Bournemouth Barracudas win.
Yeah, unfortunately for FHDW at the minute, I think it's fair to say that Bournemouth let them have their win, and they've come back out now, and they've been swinging. You know, it did take them a while. FHDW can take solace from the fact that they've kept that close until this final minute, and at times, you know, Bournemouth don't look infallible. They are not playing the kind of Rocket League that we saw them play perhaps in your NSE finals or at any other time that you might want to pick out for Bournemouth's sort of top plays, but they're playing well. Obviously, they're Bournemouth. They always will play well to some degree, and they've played well enough to keep a 3, maybe 4 goal lead there on us, managing to pop it in before the clock hit 0. But, you know, FHW, they've got what it takes. It's just trying to find it repeatedly is the challenge.
Yeah, it just kind of scares me for FHDW side that every single time you've won, it's after 2.5 minutes in overtime, after no goals happening in the entire series, while Bournemouth put up 3-4 goal leads even without seemingly putting in too much effort. That must be so scary. But FHDW, I said it after game number 1 when Bournemouth was relatively dominant, they could just pull this back, and well, they have got their one game that I was willing to give to them, but they are, I kind of hope, are going to make this more of an interesting series than we initially would have guessed at the start.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear, you know, from the scoreboard we're looking at here, Hyperia, it's quite clear what they need to do. Cloud, 4 goals, 2 assists, 2 saves. That's 4 from 4 shots, no less. He's put up over 900 points in that last game by himself. Roughly proportional, bit less, but not by much than the entire FHDW team combined. So Cloud's their man, you know. I think most people would say yes, he's probably the best player on the pitch. He's shown it in this game, and if they can, you know, if they can get that kind of physical offense going that FHDW had in earlier games, that's, I think, when they've looked the most promising for me. Trying to take Bournemouth out of their rotation, because Bournemouth believe in each other a lot. You know, when they're going for those really fancy, overconfident plays, they'll send 2 people up, no problem. If you can get the 3rd before they get the ball, you'll have the easiest goal of your life.
Now that could be a very interesting tactic. That's always something that I feel like it works if you do it properly, obviously.
Yeah,
demoing.
Pick your moment. Yeah.
Exactly. Otherwise, you're putting yourself out of position. You're throwing your entire team off. You're being way too aggressive, everything like that. But if FHDW manage to get proper demos in key positions and completely throw that Bournemouth rotation up, because if it almost takes it to the skies every single time and just being a little bit too slow, the follow-up is what's going to matter. If you can take out the follow-up or something like that on us, well, he's going to open up this series with a demo on Mama mentality. It's actually going to still work out for FHDW, and sometimes being demoed might just even be better.
I mean, this shot from Zim, absolutely fantastic. That couldn't have been a pixel further out. Top draw from him. And again, FHW have the lead. The problem is, Bournemouth seem to take it a bit more seriously when they're behind, even if only slightly. So FHW need to watch out. They do have this lead, but sitting back, I think, is not the way to keep.
Yeah, no, definitely not. If you're going to allow Bournemouth to just move on your pitch every single time, and that is something that I've been saying they shouldn't be doing. But if you do give them time on us, once again, he's just not finding accuracies with them, and this man is starting to annoy me. And always when this kind of thing happens, I feel incredibly biased, purely because they're, well, I think a dominant team, but they're just doing it a little bit silly and having way too much confidence, which hits me on the gnarly side of me.
What you mean? It can be a little irritating at times to watch them go for 3 quadruple penta musty flip resets when they're a goal down, and they could probably just make a low passing play that would yield, you know, a much more reliable result. But that's just the way they play. Like I was saying in an earlier game, you sort of love it or loathe it. It's what they do, and they've done it well enough to make themselves British champions. They've done it well enough to put themselves up in this series, but they're down here in game number 4. Cloud looking to make that a high game, didn't quite manage it. Zim, awkward touch from him. Another one. Honors gets a free shot, puts it wide. FHDW escape for now, but again, they need to try and double their lead if possible, because then I'll feel a bit more confident.
Yeah, I feel like Bournemouth, this is the kind of play style where they completely whiffed it in defense. But the FHDW get a second goal on the board as Will. Is that just a little bit too slow? I guess FHDW now take a 2-goal lead, something they haven't done before in this series.
Yeah, very true, very true. They very nearly clattered that off the crossbar, at which point I think it would have been curtains for their series, but it didn't matter. It was, it was just well placed in the empty net. That's what it was. So Midotti looking to try and make it 3 perhaps. He leaves the ball, gone for the bump, got it, but not before they got the ball. So Bournemouth will have possession here. Once again, launching it downfield and looking for some fantastic negative angle redirect. Maybe just keep that close. You've got a more consistent chance. Now Zim looking to make them pay for this mistake perhaps. He gets the ball out into the centre. Onos gets challenged by Midotti. Cloud, last one back. There again, look, Bournemouth, 2 men all the way up the field. A bump on the last will do, but no one can catch Onos, so they'll bring the ball away. Oh, great.
Ooh, almost now taking a smart play, going underneath for one, and then taking it to the skies once more. Mambo mentality shuts that down within an instant. Will with the follow-up. It's going to bounce off the post, and Midotti clears it out. FHDW, they're not out of the woods just yet. It is half-time. Bournemouth have very much proven that they can score many goals in a quick succession, and Will completely whiffing the ball is not going to lead to that. But something I was going to say earlier regarding Bournemouth is something positive about their play style, because obviously everybody's looking at the Berlin Phoenix. Everybody's looking at them well, they're going to take EURC home very easily. It's not even going to be too much effort for them. Bournemouth, with this playstyle, on a good day, might just be able to completely out-style. And if they hit every single thing they're going for, if they're popping off, that is the playstyle. That is the team that can definitely take down Berlin Phoenix. Obviously, that's far in the future, because currently they still have to get through this match.
Yeah, I fully understand you there. I think, Bournemouth's sort of rogue ideas about how you play Rocket League at a high level could really catch Berlin Phoenix out. At the same time, if Bournemouth style their way to the final and then are not playing particularly hot, I think it will be the easiest series Berlin Phoenix will play all tournament long, probably. So, it's, you never know what you're getting with Bournemouth. I think, if you're looking for someone to beat Berlin Phoenix, yes, these guys could do it. They could with plays like that. Zim! That was the easy bit. I don't know how he's managed to scuff that off to the left, but so close. FHDW showing that if anything Bournemouth can do, they can do as well. We'll get another shot at it here. Will has to bump back for it. Midotti looking for the touch. He'll get it. Does he get it again? I think he does. Off the ceiling is the right play for me. Onos gets a clear, but with a minute, just a bit less than a minute left, they've still got their 2-goal lead here, FHDW, and they've really, really done well here.
Yeah, FHDW, they're really whipping it around the pitch, around Bournemouth pretty much every single time. And it feels as if FHDW are actually using the tactic that I said Bournemouth should be using, and just going quick, going rapid, getting a lot of pace behind that ball and catch the Bournemouth side off guard. Because the harder the ball goes, it's always a lot harder to actually get the touch you want to set up for a fancy play. Will off the backward, looking to drop it down, almost jumps early with 18 seconds left. I mean, yes, you get a little bit antsy, you want to go a little bit quicker, but I think it might just be game over, and FHDW level the series once again. I think a pivotal part to note about this is, well, last time Cloud was near 1,000 points. This time he is closer to 100. He's on 136 points. Well, now on 160 by the end of this match. Massive contrast in games there.
Yeah, and I think, last time, perhaps we did FHDW a bit of a disservice. They won that game and we went, yeah, well, Bournemouth just weren't trying. It was, a bit unfair, perhaps. This time, I feel like Bournemouth were trying. FHDW did just do really well then to shut them out. Like you say, decimate Cloud's individual points tally and actually make sure that none of the Bournemouth guys really, obviously, they didn't score. So the points are very hard to come by when you're not getting goals and assists. And to shut Bournemouth out when I think arguably, they weren't joking around as much as we saw them doing game number 2. I think they really did, particularly in those last couple of minutes, think, right, come on now. We've had our fun, we need to actually score, and they did keep trying, but they never got through. FHDW set themselves well. Mambert gradually slotting himself into this team doing really well on that third man rotation, and it's promising for them from this point onwards.
Yeah, Bournemouth kind of remind me of an off and on relationship. They're fun when they actually go well, but obviously when you break up, it is absolutely gutting, and it's just terrible to look at, and to look at whatever happened in the past, because it is a thing of the past. Bournemouth, their inconsistency is definitely getting the better of them right now, dropping 2 games to FHCW. I think Bournemouth on the good day might just be able to sweep the floor with pretty much anyone in EURC, but on a bad day, they will be used as that welcoming mat in front of everyone's door and just getting used to sweep everybody's feet. Bournemouth, they need to pick it up, because if FHCW actually manage to get on match point here, Bournemouth could actually drop out. This is the lower bracket edge.
Yeah, and you know, you've got to think, what a save from Zim, manages to keep it out somehow off his own post. You've got to remember, this is game 5 now. Bournemouth in a position where they have to win 2 in a row. FHCW have shown that actually they can just get wins even if Bournemouth are playing to the best of their ability. So it's going to be dangerous for them, you know. Now, this is where we were saying, you know, it's a bit later in the series than we were talking about, but perhaps this has been their sucker punch moment. Bournemouth are going to sit there and go, hang on a minute, these guys can play, we should probably take this seriously, and if FHCW can still win, you see maybe an element of tilt creeping in, things like that. It's very, very possible from here on out for the German side.
Yeah, especially because I think what we've been saying is that Bournemouth, they can be speedier, and I think that's something they can see themselves as well, that they can feel themselves, and that might put a question of, why are we losing against these kids right now? Age-old question in ranked, and Medoti from distance off the crossbar, but Will helps him, almost helps him along. But sometimes you have those games on ranked where you feel like, I'm a lot quicker. Why am I losing against these guys? I feel like I'm a lot better, but they're just playing better on the pitch. Positioning is just a little bit better, so they didn't actually have to show that speed. Cloud takes it to the backboard, and Bournemouth, they are currently not in a great position, I want to say, even though it's level.
Yeah, you mean, you know, like you say, if you position perfectly, speed isn't necessary. You're just in the right place, and FHCW have been doing that really well. They're following up well. They've rarely overcommitted on offense. You know, it's looked good from them. Medotti thankfully gets a touch on that, otherwise it would have been proved almost instantly wrong. Zim up, gets a touch, off the ceiling it goes. Mamba's first to it though, and Zim will get to that. That's going to be really dangerous. The bounce doesn't help anyone except Will, who manages to touch it off to his corner. Medotti gets beaten out by Cloud. Cloud, dangerous on his own, but Zim knows that, challenges him quickly. They've done well. Drop coming, possibly. Zim makes the save.
And Bournemouth, they don't really have those saves, which makes you go, oh my word, that was way too close, and my heart just started racing. FHCW pulled them out with consistency, so the clutch factor on FHCW is absolutely massive. This is almost a decent angle. Cloud does get the follow-up, but let's just call it a pass to himself. Will got the assist. Well, this was all Cloud. The redirect's almost going in, but a good follow-up will definitely bury it.
You know, that's the kind of play that they make their own. Bournemouth, particularly off the backboard there. It's unfortunate for FHDW, who've done really well defensively so far. Just one half lapse for a moment there and they're down. But, you know, Bournemouth haven't looked golden on defense yet either. So they've got time, they've got opportunities, will come their way. They just need to not stretch too hard for them. Zim, he's been the offensive linchpin for me on this FHDW side. Looking to set something up now. Cloud gets hit further by Onos than he hit the ball, so good chance for FHCW here. Zim gets beaten out. Medotti's last back, but he's done really well actually to loft that high. Cloud pops it again. Onos, that's looking for Will again. He's gone for goal. Zim's not going to touch it though. Risky, but almost very effective.
Indeed, and I don't think FHCW have won any of their games when at any point they were in a deficit against Bournemouth. So right now they need to pull something out they haven't done before. As Cloud rips another shot, it will be off to the backboard, almost looking for that second touch. The counter-attack slowed down massively, a little bit. Zim taken out to the side, and then Will gets control of the ball once more, puts it in the FHCW box, or at least near to it. Cloud getting a second touch. He's been crazy from those angles. This time also getting close, but close is not good enough since it did not bounce right in front of the goal once again. Also can't get the fake, but it's all out attack for Bournemouth right now.
It is Medotti though, leading the charge with almost nothing in the tank. He's not going to get very far. Zim. Needs a big clear, gets a big clear. Where's Mamba? Oh, I thought he might be down there. Unfortunately for FHDW, he is not. Madotti looking to carry it. That's gone lower than he would have liked. Will gets a touch, but Mamba's there quickly to read it off his own backboard. No boost, though. Becoming a bit of a theme for FHDW at the minute. Ceiling, a minute left. Zim's got his own back boost, but Cloud's got the ball. Madotti lofts it long, but that's just giving the ball back to Bournemouth. They'll need a chance, some kind of shot here. FHDW. Zim beats one out. Mamba has the shot. That's a great shot, but Cloud equal to it.
And they equal to it, but can they actually clear it out? Bournemouth are a little bit low on boost to get sent to the backboard once again. Will actually go for the bump instead of the ball itself. Sometimes you want to go man over ball, but this time it was a little bit risky. Banking an ult Zim, and that is what I mean. Those pre-flips incredibly hard to find. Mamba doesn't find the ball whatsoever. Pre-flip or not, Zim was the backboard. This time Will does find the bump. Madotti still clears it out. It's almost taking control. The first touch is good, but Mamba gets in touch, and that clears it out to the side. These final 15 seconds, pivotal for FHDW. Will extends it onto the backboard, almost gets a good clear as well. Madotti, last man back by his lonesome, doesn't get a touch, and the recovery is well slacking to say the least, as they do go underneath and drops to the ground. Bournemouth are on match point.
They are. It looked shaky. It did. You know, FHDW, I think, had the run of the early game here in game number 5, but didn't manage to make it count. It's a tight game though, and again, for the team that put up 919 points on their star man alone earlier in this series, they're not scoring that highly. It's a 1-goal game. They've only barely outshot FHDW in this game. So still, we were saying if Bournemouth get halfway to match point, if they get to match point, there'll be problems. FHDW don't seem to be that phased at the minute.
Exactly. That is something that has been helping FHDW pretty much the entire time. That in very tough scenarios, they stay calm, they stay cool, they stay collected, and they make sure they clear it out. And that is something that I don't know why, but I always expect that from a German side. Really efficient, really just thinking about what they're actually doing. Whereas the English are maybe fooling around a little bit more, especially definitely in this series. Yeah. But who knows what can happen. Bournemouth are now on match point. And can FHDW win 2 games in a row here?
That's the problem. Again, though, it's always so interesting in these long series. If FHDW force a game 7, they've got the cards then. They've got the momentum. Bournemouth have the mental pressure of what they will know is a match they should be winning, going all the way to game 7. They managed to do it against Tilburg, obviously, but once again, just doesn't even get anywhere near the ball. Madotti looking for a shot, but Cloud will be back in time. More kickoff shenanigans perhaps from Bournemouth, but they very nearly got caught out.
Yeah, this time the kickoff favouring FHDW. Almost. Can he get it out of defense? Just being a little bit too slow once again. Pass in field from Mamba. It's a decent shot, but straight onto Will, and he was standing his ground. Sometimes a low shot might actually work out. Will with 0 boost still gets it past one. That allows Mamba to whip it up. Just way too far forward. Zim, no touch out of him whatsoever. Zim, can he get a second touch this time? No, it's Cloud getting in the way. That is going to land on target. No, actually off the crossbar. Oh my word, FACW, they're sweating right now.
Yeah, I would be. Certainly, that was a little scary from them. A last man challenge that wasn't really looking very promising. As that gone all the way in on us. Finally gets the big play he's been looking for, and perhaps you would say it's worth the way off the ceiling, back onto the ceiling again. Bournemouth won to the good in some rather unusual fashion.
Yes, sometimes it does work out, and that is something to note. Onos finally gets a goal that he's been somewhat looking for the entire series, and the FHDW are once again in a position that they have never come back from. That is, well, being 1 goal down against Bournemouth. They have shown promises, and they have shown promise in last game as well. They got close. So this pinch actually is going to land on target. Onos forced to clear it out, but Cloud, he whips it even further. Bournemouth looks to get that attack started almost off the backboard. It's a pinch. Does get sent towards the other side. Cloud, this time the pre-flip working against him and sends it center. Will has to bail him out.
Yeah, and again, I'm worried for FHDW here. They seem to be stretching a little, chasing that 1-goal lead. They will get an opportunity to turn it around. I think it's just a matter of not conceding between now and when that opportunity materialises. Bournemouth have given away opportunities in virtually every game, so There's no need to rush it, particularly with 3 minutes on the clock. This could be it. Zim looks at the drop down. It's a great play. Medotti just not quite there quickly enough. Will tries to bring it clear, but the flick not great. Onos gets demoed for his troubles. Where's Medotti again? The shot from FHDW just not quite there in time.
Yeah, Zim, give him 10 more boosts or something like that, and he would have put on a shot, but he only had, well, about 20 or 39 in the tank. It's not enough to get up to that ball and get a lot of power behind him. Medotti turning in early for this one. It's only a 50 with Cloud. Onos that kind of touch completely. Will once again in that pivotal position. Now he's on the backboard. Onos will be there before him, thus he's the one who clears it out. It's a good 50, and FHDW are back on defense after being on attack for a relatively long amount of time. But Bournemouth are really picking it up in defense, finding 6 saves in the first half of the game. But I feel like FHDW might just put on a few more shots. Are they going to matter? Not really. If Bournemouth can concede or can convert right now, it drops center. Will goes underneath. That is what I've been saying. Those slow shots can work out for Bournemouth, not for them right now.
Shot was, yeah, placed well, but a little too slow, if anything. Onos looking for that fantastic pass, and he got it. Cloud ready to reap the rewards, but again, that's all Onos. He's shown up here when it counts. Great delayed pass, Bates in Mamba. 2 minutes exactly. They need a goal a minute here, FHDW. It's possible, but will they manage it in this particular time?
I feel like Bournemouth, or especially Cloud, has just slipped the woodwork a tenner or something like that, paid him off, because every single post bounce has been in his favor massively. Obviously, in the end, there's no luck whatsoever. Sim, that is also no luck. That could have been a better shot. It was a decent one, but Onos will save a decent shot pretty much any day of the week as they convert to attack. Once again, the transition incredibly speedy on Bournemouth. Notice he should be able to get the clear out. Never mind, I was lying. I was capping hard. Mamba, they're just falling apart right now. FHDW, they can't seem to get anything going.
Chance, all 3 players from Bournemouth rushing back onto this ball. Onos gets a touch, but it's not a brilliant one. Will be up in time. Zim looks high, finds high. Where's the wrong rushing player? There's Mamba, pops it up. Medotti's actually going to get a free go at this ball, but he's not done brilliantly with it, it must be said. Zim looking to keep the ball in play. He's done that just about, but Onos gets a long clear, and one of their minutes has gone. They haven't scored yet, FHDW. Onos looking for the spectacular, doesn't quite find it, but Bournemouth have everything they need right now to close out the series.
And I do like that Bournemouth, they did kind of change up their play style. Will now taking it to the side. Once again, thank you, Bournemouth, for it being a perfect display of what I was literally just about to say. Will could have popped this up, but instead he whips it wide, forces him in an awkward position, and Cloud just finds the open net. And that has been something that's been going on with Bournemouth more and more in the final 2 games, or in the past 2 games. That they've just been more consistent. It's really as simple as that. They stopped playing, okay, we go all out monkey. If we score a good goal. They kind of put that aside and just grinded it out, kind of the FHDW style, and that just favors them massively.
Yeah, like you say, on paper, Bournemouth should win this series, which they now have managed to do, but at times they made it look a lot harder than perhaps you think it should be. Medotti, gonna try something, but with 18 seconds left, even if Sim scores this, it's unlikely. Bournemouth, like you say, they're gonna win this series. It wasn't as, perhaps, straightforward for them as they might have expected, as many of us were expecting on the desk before. There will come a point in a tournament of this caliber where Bournemouth come against a team where laughing around and losing 1 or 2 games is not something they'll be able to afford to do. You've just got to see if they can pull it out straight away out of them.
I already feel like that might just be the next round. Right now, every single team that, has good moments and has been a decent team is getting knocked out. And with that, also FHDW obviously getting knocked out here. And the loser of this, or the loser of this is completely out. Bournemouth will now go up against the loser of a series we have it going on later tonight. Berlin Phoenix versus Berlin Basilisk. So Bournemouth versus Basilisk is going to be a very interesting one.
Oh, it's a bold assumption. I think it's probably a correct assumption. But yeah, and I think, Basilisks are probably the kind of team that could really catch this Bournemouth side out. I think they play rather similarly to FHDW. Obviously, they've remained in that upper bracket this whole time. Shows that they're maybe a cut above there. it's been really good to see them play so well. And, while they might not have what it takes to beat the Phoenix, against the Barracudas here, you look at that kind of performance, you think they'll go a game up, maybe they'll laugh about a bit. Berlin Basilisks, I think, could really make them pay for it.
I like how we're having complete disregard of any respect shown towards Basilisk, and with the series not even going on just yet, just saying, bro, Phoenix are gonna win easily. Yeah, I mean, we'll see for sure. It's going to be interesting for sure. But that is obviously, as we said, a series that goes on later tonight. So Berlin Phoenix versus Berlin Basilisk is not up next, but we're going to go into a little break. Stay tuned to find out what's up next. See you in a bit.
welcome back to the EUR stream here on a Monday night, where we now have just one final series left before we have decided who our final 6 teams heading to Championship Sunday on the 25th of April are going to be. Before we can dive into this next series between the Salford Lions and the Beckett Bears, I suppose we should talk a little bit about the Bournemouth Barracudas and FHDW series that you just watched all of, and I think much closer for FHDW than a lot of us were expecting on the desk.
Yeah, definitely. You know, FHDW did give that a proper go. Even most of the games that they didn't end up winning, they put up a good fight in. You know, there was one game, I think it was the third game, Bournemouth ran away with a little bit towards the end, but credit to FHDW. You know, these guys are reigning British champions. They did, I think, really well to put them up to 6. From the Bournemouth side, I said it just before we went on to our break, you know, they looked good. There will come a time where they won't be able to just lark about like that in a big series in this tournament and get away with it. You know, there will come a team at some point where they will have to give it their all every game, otherwise they will get punished.
Yeah, and I suppose the first place to look for potentially where that might come will be in their next matchup. At the end of the night, we will be finding out if they're going to be playing against the Berlin Basilisks, or maybe a little bit more unlikely the Berlin Phoenixes by the end of that one. And I think, you know, Tylacto, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to ask, do you think the Berlin Basilisks, if they are the team that ends up dropping, will be the team to really punish Bournemouth for trying to lark around a little bit, as Ash put it?
Yeah, I think it'll certainly be Bournemouth's hardest challenge so far in this playoff bracket if they do assumedly have to play the Berlin Basilisk. You would have said that it would have been Portsmouth, but I mean, Portsmouth played them off the field, so yeah, Bournemouth didn't even show up to that one. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it certainly I could easily see Basilisks beating Bournemouth if that does end up being the scenario. I think we'll have a cracking series on our hands if that's the case. I think Basilisks and Tilburg quite comparable, maybe not all the time, but Tilburg certainly coming on a run, and certainly look at that series. Maybe that scare I was thinking would have sort of kicked Bournemouth into gear, but I mean, they did have a couple fantastic goals that series. I mean, Onos himself, ceiling shot redirect was quite the highlight. But FHDW still with a sub, able to get 2 games, and that is good credit to them, but also still question marks around Bournemouth.
Yeah, good credit to FHDW, but I mean, commiserations to them even with the sub. That's it for them. Their tournament run will end as they drop out of the lower bracket. We are now in just this final 7, and that means we will be heading towards this next match between the Salford Lions and Beckett Bears. Both of these teams are coming off 4-0 wins in their round of 12, but I think in general, Orion, they've had very different routes to getting to those. Salford starting off in that lower bracket, Beckett being knocked down to that lower bracket by the Berlin Phoenixes, and then both with strong 4-0 wins in their last rounds after that.
Yeah, and in a way that you wouldn't have kind of expected. You know, you would have said Salford were probably the stronger team on paper, but they ended up in that lower round 1 straight away, whereas Beckett got that upper bracket win against the Mojitos, I believe, 4-2 in that upper round 1, and then immediately falling to Berlin Phoenix, and you know, you can't blame them for that one. But they've still had a good run here. Like their match against Essex, it was closer than it looked, despite being a sweep, but it still was a sweep. And, you know, Essex aren't a team to really be sniffed at. So Beckett Bears have found themselves in a really good place. And Salford, they managed to bounce back from that defeat in the grand final in NSC and sweep the Martinis, no less, which was a big result for them, especially playing with Aaron in place of Camo that evening, I believe. And he is playing again, despite saying that he wasn't. So he has stepped in for Arton, who I believe is not going to be featuring for Salford tonight.
Yeah, so a little bit of a shame that, you know, still even at this late point of the tournament, we are seeing subs coming through for some of these teams. But, you know, it worked out for them last week. Aaron stepping in, and it'll be exciting. But just to go back to Beckett for a little bit longer as well, you know, at the moment, Tylacto, they've only dropped 2 series in this tournament. One of them is against the Berlin Phoenixes. One of them is against the Erasmus Esports Rotterdam team. And those are 2 teams who are now secured in that top 6 spot. And so Beckett, you know, they've beaten some stiff opponents. They've lost some even better opponents. But you have to say they've acquitted themselves well so far in this tournament as one of our open qualifier teams.
Yeah, the 2 finalists from EUR summer last year, their only defeats is very, very impressive. You have to say the manner of which they are a qualified team. What a split it has been for them, pretty much from almost unknown in the domestically even, but now really very much on the map here. The question is, can they go one step further? You can say Salford maybe weakened by having Aaron play today, but honestly, I think he's getting quite used to playing in EURC, so I'm expecting quite the good series.
Yeah, we'll now have played in half of all of their lower bracket matches, you know? I mean, given that this is only their fourth and he's played in one of them. And I think actually when we look at that, you know, the fact that Salford had to start in that lower bracket, they've had their backs up against it. This extra pressure of, you know, an elimination match, this is nothing new to this squad at this point.
No, it's not. And, you know, we've not really had any questions about the Salford side. And by the time we started asking questions, it was actually almost a little too late for them to give us any answers in the NSC finals a couple of weeks back. You know, that was the only time that we started thinking, hang on a minute, they might not do this. But by the time we'd finished thinking it, they hadn't done it. So it was, you know, it wasn't pretty for them against the Bournemouth side that we just saw a couple of weeks ago. But they seem to have vented some of that anger on the Fair Play Martini, not having any of it in EUR. But, you know, they are like Bournemouth a little bit in that they can run a bit cold at times, the Salford side. So, you know, it's up to whoever turns up on the pitch, obviously, on the night to see who can do it. But I think Beckett Bears, they're the underdogs, definitely, but they do have a chance here.
Yeah, and I think Beckett Bears, and it's a kind of storyline that we've set up a few times for different matches across the EURC is, you know, underdog teams come in and they can find a run of form against a team that kind of puts that team onto the back foot. And I like that, again, it's something that you've talked about. We talked about it potentially in that last series if FHDW could come out swinging. And Beckett, you know, definitely a team that, you know, has proven that they can play some very good Rocket League. And on the other side, Salford, definitely a team that has proven they're maybe susceptible to getting rocked a little bit when a team comes out at them with a lot of aggression in a series.
Yeah, certainly both these two teams, you're right, familiar with sweeps of some fashion. You think about Beckett going up against Essex, swept them in this playoff bracket, reverse swept them in the group stage. That 7-game win streak they've knocked out against Essex they have. And yeah, Salford sweeping the Martinis in lower bracket, and of course getting technically swept in that grand finals against Bournemouth Barracudas. And yeah, it's interesting that we haven't seen them at their full roster since then. Don't know when we might next, but in fairness, also Salford have only lost 2 series this tournament as well. They were the only team to manage to not, unfortunately for them, go into upper bracket despite a 5-2 record. So a whole lot of similarities between these two teams. Does that mean that this is going to be a sweep as well?
Yeah, well, look, I guess I get to ask you guys that question first, and we're going to go to Orion. So thank you, Tylacto, for throwing the hard questions directly at him on Orion. You know, not much to separate these two teams, but I'm going to have to ask you to try.
I think Salford have got this one. Beckett could throw a spanner in the works, but I don't think they're going to. I think Aaron has actually looked really good recently, and honestly might even be a bit of an upgrade from Arton, who had a shaky grand final and hasn't looked as good in the latter half of the season as he was in the first. So my bet is on Salford. I'm going to go with 4-2.
Okay, it's an exciting one, and I mean, you know, let's keep our eyes on Aaron then in the rest of the series. Tylacto, are you backing the boys in purple?
No, I think I'll go with Salford as well, honestly. Okay. I think that whilst the crater is still there of the NSE Grand Finals, the wake of it is still there. I think poor Jiggy, I remember watching him during that Grand Final, I still think he was playing perfectly well, and I think Jiggy might just be a little bit too on form at the moment. It might be a little bit too much Beckett. Whilst I can absolutely see them winning this, I would love them to win this. I think they've had a fantastic split, and they've made some fantastic leaps and bounds, but I think this one series might be a step too far.
Well, we'll see. And Atch, now, one more quick prediction from my analyst before I get a go myself.
I love an underdog. I love me an underdog. I couldn't find it in myself to predict FHDW, and I will stress, I think Beckett are the underdogs here. But I think they are like Bournemouth, only more consistent. They will come out swinging, but they will swing at a fairly constant rate, and that is what you need in these long series. You don't want to go cold midway through games 2 and 3 and suddenly ship 6. That's not brilliant for you, you know? And I think if they can come out swinging, if they can get that right, play some of the Rocket League, we've seen them play this split, I think they can do it. So I'm going to give it to them in 7, just for a bit of fun. I think they can do it. We'll just have to see if they will.
And honestly, I'm going to back Beckett as well. I think I've been impressed with their consistency across the tournament. I think Salford, over the last couple of weeks, have looked like a team that maybe if someone can get a little bit of a consistent footing against them in the series, can get rocked a little bit. And I'm looking forward to seeing if that is what happens. I'm looking to see if Salford can rediscover that series. We're looking forward to see if either of these teams can continue their 4-0 run here in the lower bracket, as they're both coming off the back of a sweep in their favour. And we're going to leave it to Tylacto and Orion to navigate our way through this series.
What a series we're gonna have. I mean, technically speaking, Orion, we've both predicted Salford here, but I think we're both pretty worried that this one could like we could have like 7 games and 7 overtimes, and yeah, I guess that would be quite surprising. But it would be like, damn, this is the sort of series that could deserve it. And I mean, what a sort of almost comeback story for Aaron, right? I mean, the amount of twists and turns there's been in the Salford saga, we could have had a whole movie series. In fact, I think we probably should really. And it's almost like the token bad guy that he sort of got framed as a lot of the time, I think, in the outcomes of them. He can actually turn out to be the hero in EURC once again.
Yeah, I think there is kind of a lot of stories to be told. You know, he looked pretty exceptional in the series against Martinis. Like, I didn't even know if Salford were going to win that series, and then they came out and won it 4-0, playing with Aaron in place of Camo, who many would say is their best player. Jiggy also definitely in contention for that kind of unofficial title, as he's going to score one straight off the bat. But then on the other side, you know, Beckett, they've come on leaps and bounds, even in this spring split. If you think about how far they've come on since winter last year, it's crazy. So they are riding a wave of improvement right now, and I don't know how far they can possibly take it. And I really think this series will show us, you know, whether they are on the map as one of those top 6 teams in the UK, if they can beat Salford, or if Salford are still that, you know, force to be reckoned with that we've seen from them all season.
Yeah, certainly you're right. And I think Beckett were one of the best teams to unfortunately miss out in that championship bracket in NSE. But of course, I mean, straight off the bat, that goal, I'm still trying to figure out quite what Aaron did with the pass. He got an incredible assist from it. It looked like he was going one side of the ball and somehow wrapped his car around it. And that man Jiggy, who we're talking about maybe being on form at the moment, he got one just under 30 seconds in, and that's unfortunate for Beckett. But you know, they've pulled up reverse sweep in this tournament before. I'm sure it won't phase them too much. But great start for Salford here with the only shot of the game still yet thus far, and another double touch from Jiggy could create the chance this time. They are unfortunate and they're unable to get his car around that one.
Yeah, that was 2 double touches in very quick succession there. First one coming out from Jiggy, second one from Aaron, who had a bit of a harder angle as he just forces Jiggy out of the way and chases his ball down the field. Gets a nice flick into the midfield, but Mosley is going to be there to clear that one away. Here's Camo on that right-hand side. Bit of ping-pong going on at the moment. Rahu might have a bit of control here. Demolition coming out onto Camo might open things up. Mosley with a shot. Jiggy standing, but missing the shot there, and a great opportunity for the Beckett Bears. Went begging there.
Yeah, it's uncharacteristic of Mosley missing the contact there. And speaking of missing contact, Camo, he's going to be nowhere near making that save. Rahu, he's been the man of the moment so frequently recently for Beckett, is going to get a bit of a donation there.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you're going up for it, and you're making the decision of whether it's going to hit the ceiling or not as you're kind of committing for it. So Camo getting a bit wrong-footed by that read there, and is unfortunately going to miss and allow Beckett to tie things up here. Although, you know, 3 minutes still left in this game, plenty of time for things to happen and many more goals to be scored. Aaron's trying to do exactly that. Didn't quite have the boost in the tank to keep following that one up, but it is going to still drop down in that Beckett Bears final third. Jiggy is trying to create some pressure, but finally away into that corner from ATT. Aaron's going to let it roll all the way into the corner and then drive straight past him. It actually works out as some sort of fake there. Mosley with a challenge, but still going towards that Beckett Bears net. Jiggy was looking for the infield. He's actually going to get the fake and stay in possession here. Camo off the corner, trying to find the infield. Triple commit. This could be an opportunity for Jiggy, but he's a little bit late arriving. Players missing left, right, and centre. Jiggy to score it. Oh, it's put clear by Mosley. What a save at the front post.
Yeah, I don't know how he reached that. I was sure Jiggy was going to put that one away. He has looked like he is feeling it right now. He's making a save at the other end of the field as well. Forcing the shot is Rahu this time. Aaron with that one. He's just, you know, you saw the triple commit on the Leeds Beckett defense. You can see the nerves on display here, them early series jitters. But Jiggy, he has immediately come to play here in this first game with 1 goal apiece. He's certainly to be that difference maker, and that's what he's trying to be. But Mosley denied him there, and what an important save that could prove to be if Beckett come back and take this one completely with shots like that. They certainly could do. Rahu equally looking dangerous.
Yeah, we're seeing quite a conservative game from both teams at the moment. It's mainly just 1 player up and 2 players at that midfield line. So, you know, I think as we progress through the series and each team tries to chase it more and get their nose in front, then we might see the reverse of that with 2 players on offense and just leaving 1 at the back. So yeah, no real kind of commitment at the moment, although Matty is just going to barrel in for that one. Camo did not expect there to be a player there so quickly. It might have been Aaron actually was trying to catch this one, and by the time he realized it was too late.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron was just enjoying his time in the garden, and then Matty just comes flying out the dog flap, just bounds over to him and just yaps at the ball, and just in it goes. And suddenly we're into the final minute, and while Salford certainly opened up stronger, Beckett have turned this one around, and Salford are on a time limit if they want to get first blood in this series. But Rahu, once again, taking the ball deep into that Salford Lions end here, and they're going to try and strike back, but can the time be bought? Mosley with a great touch there into the curb is going to buy so much time. Aaron and Jiggy have to try and link up here in some sort of advanced fashion, but no boost on Camo, yet he still forces a dangerous shot. Matty missing that touch, and likewise Rahu. There's a little bit more nerves coming out from Leeds Beckett here. They can taste the win here in game one, but they still have to hang on for 20 more seconds, and a 50 like that from Camo could maybe prove Salford good. They've got the ball in the corner, the flick is coming round, but Mosley with the save across the backboard. Matty is going to keep the ball in the corner, but could he have just done a disservice? Another triple commit on the side of Leeds Beckett, but Matty with a 50 to end the game here. But I say that, the ball is still up on the wall. He's going to get it downfield, Jiggy is, but Mosley intercepting from the ceiling, and Aaron nearly trying to head to his Hall of Fame of own goals, but not quite going to find it. The crossbar going to deny that one, and Beckett going to deny Salford game one.
Yeah, it really looked like Salford kind of got surprised by that. They went down, and even with about 30 seconds left, they still weren't putting on that pressure that they needed to. And then in the final 30 seconds they did, but by that time, it was too little too late. So Salford, it really looks like they've been surprised. I'd say hero of the game there was Mosley with that save off the inside of his post. Jiggy looked certain to put that in, and the ball was about halfway in the net. So technically you could say it was Beckett 2 and Salford 1.5, but still Beckett winning game one here.
Yeah, that's a big win as well. It's really showing and reminding us that they are very much here to play. They are in this tournament, and they have been all season. Salford not going to get any easy rides here. They're probably hoping for a break after the humiliation of the NSE finals, but they're certainly not going to be getting one here. And I might point out that Twitch chat predictions, Ryan, were very, very confidently in Salford's favour. They had 78,000 channel points on their shoulders, just 10k for Beckett Bears. That's an 88% favour. I think there's,
oh my god,
if this keeps up, that could be a lot of money going down the drain.
Yeah, that's a bit scary.
That's scary.
That's also quite scary, but they have managed to deal with it somehow, starting to worry a little bit for Salford. Or like, part of me is like, well, Salford didn't look great in game one, and Beckett Bears might really have this. But the other part of me is that thinking that Salford were just messing around that game one and weren't taking it as seriously as they could have perhaps. So I think it will probably have to wait until maybe about game 2 or 3 until we really see Salford in 6th gear trying 100% to win this series, or maybe they just don't want to and just want to have fun. You never know with Salford.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I feel like they've got a sort of certain bit of spice about them in a similar way to Bournemouth do, where I think they kind of are and know that they are at their best when they're having like a bit of fun with it. I think when they try and take themselves too seriously, certainly when they're using a sub, in the case of Aaron here, then things just don't really work out. I don't know if they can. Like, it just sort of like inherits and causes more nerves if things are so serious. I know Leeds Beckett will be very professional with this series. Their entire season, ever since not making championship bracket, has been all about this tournament, and what a performance they've been putting in so far. Whereas Salford, this is more about redemption for them, and really, I feel like they don't want to put it on their shoulders as the sort of pressure that they really need to win this. And maybe that was reflected in game one with a lack of urgency after Beckett turned it around. But I'm sure over the course of this best of 7, it'll slowly be hitting them like, well, we really don't want to be losing this, but Beckett are kind of just doing good things and making our life really difficult. But the midfield battle has continued so much that we've gotten nearly 2 minutes into this game 2, and not a single shot has been registered.
It's just been ping pong in game 2. Usually we see this in game 1, but just back and forth. Camo there might be able to find something here. He's pre-flipped into it. Can Camo drop this down? No. Bounce was not favourable. Bit of offense there coming out, but it just was that one individual for Salford, which we see so often. Like when they're playing at their best, they definitely connect and link up well. But when Salford are on autopilot, it just feels like it's one player at a time as we see Aaron try and make something work, and now it's Jiggy's turn. There's no real linking up between the players.
No, I think that's fair. It's just interesting though about how many times we've really seen the peak Salford this season. Maybe they had it a lot of the time in NSE League play in terms of managing to finish top of that league play. You imagine it was there off stream numerous times. I think our best examples of it were the latter half of the series against Portsmouth in the upper semis, of course, and then them upper finals against Loughborough, when Salford were really trying to tell us that they were the best here in Britain. But I mean, EURC, we really haven't seen it as much. I agree, they were massively hard done by not to end up in that upper bracket with a 5-2 record, but that is how the cookie crumbled for them, unfortunately. But in terms of the counter-attack, Jiggy is not going to make contact there. Maybe Maddie would have been back to make the save anyway, but it's not the sort of ball he'll want to be whiffing after he's looked so confident in the previous series and this one so far as well. And you have to wonder whether mistakes like that could be the difference as we're heading into this potential final minute, maybe even goalless.
Yeah, although a great save there from Matty, opted to go for the pre-jump despite being last back and was able to make contact off of Aaron's touch. Pre-flip from Aaron now. He's going to find this on the wall, getting blocked out by Mosley with a 50-50. Camo sending it up high. Aaron with the pre-jump off the backboard. That is a dangerous ball. Can Rahu get there? It's actually going to drop in from Jiggy, reading Rahu's touch, and the mistake you predicted finally came out there. Matty putting that one off the ceiling. Such a dangerous position. Jiggy punishing it.
Yeah, it was a double commit there from the defense. Rahu tried to put it right, but he couldn't recover in time to make that block. Jiggy would not be denied, and once again here, Salford are going to open up the scoring. Much later than before, though. Beckett, they're the ones on the time limit here, and they've only had 2 shots so far this game, and both were in the last minute or so. But Salford and certainly Camo are holding the line. He's had a quiet time, but he's thrown himself mostly in that Salford Lions half, I think it's fair to say. And really, Beckett suddenly really on the stopwatch as the shot can maybe come through for Salford. It'd be great for their confidence if they could double this advantage. Beckett certainly looks shakier than I've seen them on the defense, and big dunks like that are going to be keeping them there.
Yeah, as 30 seconds left, when those goals go in after 4 minutes of back and forth with nothing to show for it, it almost feels like an overtime victory. Obviously, you've still got time to answer, but when there's that just very long period where you haven't conceded and you haven't scored, once that opening goal happens, if it's against you, you really feel like you've been put on the back foot. And especially, as you say, with that time limit, we've only got 10 seconds left now, less than that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's in the wrong half at the moment, hitting the ground. Not quite actually kept up by Mosley, but now Camo, can he get this one down? Matty actually going to catch it, Camo going to leave it, and Jiggy going to plant it on the floor.
Indeed, it will be planted, and that is Salford not just taking game 2 to tie up this best of 7, but shutting out Leeds Beckett in the process. That won't be doing wonders for their confidence, but credit to Salford, a very professional performance. It did feel like Beckett, when they're on the defense, have looked more shaky. We really haven't seen, if any, double commits out of Salford, right? Which is impressive considering, of course, they are technically with a sub. But as we say, Aaron getting himself quite acquaintance and quite comfortable here playing in EURC. So certainly not like it's the first time they've played together either. But Beckett, I don't know, we've definitely seen them look more structured than this, but that was a very strategic match, that game 2. Just 2 shots apiece for both teams, and when the midfield battle is like that, it can be so simple that 1 goal in total can be the tally for the entire game.
Yeah, as you say, 2 super close games so far, both only 1 goal separating them, and we now have a 1 all-tied series score, so essentially a best of 5 from here. And I think, Ashnell said that it was going to be very back and forth, and said that it definitely had Game 7 vibes about it. And I'm starting to agree with him. Like, my prediction was 4-2, so unless Salford actually, start to turn it on and Beckett maybe fall apart a little bit, then maybe we could see us going the distance to decide it.
That's a great pass. Oh, what a pass it is, and what a finish to top it off. Beckett just standing like penguins in their igloo. Camo with the pass to Aaron, and what a finish. Bottom corner. Salford may have taken 4 minutes to score this time, but there's still 4.5 on the clock. They're already up in game 3.
Yeah, heads up play from Camo there. Could have gone for the shot, but saw the net was stacked and instead went for that sweaty goal with Aaron. Here's Beckett trying to get one back. Matthew was pushed very high up there. Fortunate that that ball off that 50-50 didn't ping over the top. Would have definitely created a counter-attack for Salford. Speaking of counter-attacks, they're in that Beckett half, but Rahu is carrying it clear. Camo in control now. Might take this all the way to the backboard. Going to pick up that boost as well. Use those mechanics, pass that over towards Aaron, who looks for the ground pinch. It's up high again, but Camo still there in the midfield to try and get a piece of it. It's over towards Jiggy, looking for the clear off the backboard. Not very strong and no teammate in the corner. He'll have to follow this one up himself, but there was no real pressure coming out from Beckett. And now they've left themselves completely wide open. They didn't even really pressure that ball in the corner yet. On the defense, there was absolutely nobody.
They effectively baited themselves into a double commit in the midfield, and well, massive credit to Jiggy for that, realizing he had the time to take the ball and the space into that corner there, and really punishing them for it as an empty ball off the backboard with no boost on Rahu to really take advantage of that. Salford were vulnerable for a second, but currently Beckett are without a goal in over 7 minutes so far, and that certainly can't be doing good for them. They certainly, looking at a little bit shaky, it's fair to say, but no real chances to sort of correct that for now. Salford doing a great job of shutting opportunities, and once again, they're going to make it look easy. Camo and Aaron linking up, this time in the midfield, and like you say, the defense has just turned into a ghost.
Yeah, I mean, the shot didn't even need to be that good, but it was an absolute banger from Aaron. Huge clear coming out from Camo, and it wasn't a wayward clear either. He didn't just hit it as hard as he could. I'm pretty sure that he was looking for Aaron in the midfield there. He's looked for him again. I believe that might have even been Jiggy, and almost a 1-2-3 coming off for Salford there. And I think now we are starting to see Salford at their best. It's when they link up, when they find each other, still double coming a little bit on defense, but as long as they're getting the ball away and they're looking for each other, they're doing a pretty good job right now.
Jiggy could maybe get a third, but a big save from Maddie. The touchdown from Aaron. The shot, though, off the crossbar from Camo. What a play that would have been as well. Some fantastic chances so far. Maddie has to make another save on the back line here. Beckett are holding on, but it's still a 2-goal deficit. They're trying to rise to the occasion, but like you said, the cogs of Salford, they are turning. They are warming up big time here. Beckett, they're still trying to get out of first or second gear, but they have had a couple sparks. They are trying to fight back. They do have time to do so. Maddie with another save. He's not going to get credit for that one this time. Aaron, just a hopeful ball, killing a little bit of time off the clock. Maybe we get a chance to chill for now. That shot, no chill there. Maddie with another. He's going to get an epic save medal there. He's only got 3 to his name so far, but Beckett, they don't want saves right now. They could do with some offense of their own, but Camo so patiently positioned is just such a thorn in their side at the moment.
Yeah, and these touches on offense, like that one, they're so unpredictable. And by the time they've happened, Beckett, they're just not on the same wavelength as the Salford offense right now, not cutting out these infield passing plays. And Salford, they have really kind of pulled the rabbit out of the hat this game. They're showing their hand, and right now their hand looks pretty unbeatable if you're Beckett.
Yeah, it's proper full house right now. Might as well be a royal flush, because last game they may have put up just the 2 shots, right? They've already got 12 so far in this third game. They are looking dominant right now. The scoreline may be 1-1, but Salford will surely be taking the advantage in this one unless we see a momentous comeback from Beckett, which they certainly need to start all about right about now. Rahu is finding himself lost in the Salford half, but all 3 players there, all cramped up, but can it really be punished? They look comfortable, they look patient. Camo is getting the better of his marker every single time across the field, and Mosley is going to try it, but they're just never taking no extended time on the ball. It's always a hit away from the team. They're intercepting, but Salford just so much quicker at this point, so far ahead of this game. And the shot again, it's like watching a slow motion car crash. Salford linking up, and Camo again with the end product.
Yeah, and I think the biggest mistake that Beckett are making right now is giving Salford space. There is not enough pressure on offense, and they are just being allowed to take the ball on a Sunday drive into that final third, and then when they do, looking for a teammate, and by that time it's too late, So Salford, they've really managed to find out what Beckett's weakness is, although a great save there could be a little bit of solace for them. But yeah, Beckett, they have to press that ball. If you allow Salford to play their game at this point, they're just going to run rings around you.
They're just so confident right now. It's not even funny. And a miracle save from Mosley, to be fair to him, as you say, but he dropped himself in the situation to start with a really unfortunate whiff you would never expect of him. But that's what we're seeing out of Beckett right now. They rose to it for a minute or so earlier this game, but this 4-0, and the fact they haven't scored, they've been shut out in 2 back-to-back games. You can tell it has really knocked the wind out of them, and wow, Salford are coming through like a hurricane right now, and if they don't act soon, I think Beckett could be swept away.
Yeah, Salford really put on a show there, and especially I want to draw attention to their sub, in inverted commas, Aaron, getting that MVP, 9 shots to his name, 2 goals, an assist, and a save to boot as well. And I did mention at the start, he is playing pretty exceptionally at the moment. Like, for someone that didn't touch the game for so long, and I believe, removed himself from that first team roster. I think it was Jiggy, or it might have been Jiggy or Arton that came in, but regardless of who it was, still proving that he is a top player and can really perform on this roster. And I think he really is kind of the catalyst at the moment. He's putting himself in the perfect place for Camo and Jiggy to pass to him, and also passing to Camo and Jiggy as well. They're really a well-oiled machine right now, are Salford.
Yeah, they really are. There's like the 9 shots. In fact, they put up 16 in 5 minutes. Frankly, ridiculous. Like, it's actually just crazy, to be honest, really. Like, it's in terms of that Salford situation you were talking about, I'm pretty sure it was both Deadly Soul and Aaron. They stepped down, basically just to let Alton and Jiggy go to first. And to be fair to them, well, Aaron, he's come back, and guess who's back? Back again. That's right, it's Aaron, top of the scoreboard there in that Game 3. Salford looking fantastic, so fantastic he got a bit excited, and actually he's gone to the toilet, so we're waiting for him to get back. But Beckett, I mean, we're worried for them. Certainly shut out in back-to-back games, and if it was any other team, I probably would be even more worried. But I think the credit to Beckett across the most of this split has really been their mental fortitude. I'm praising it despite a lack of it right now, it looks like, but I'm certainly sure they're taking the time to talk as they are. We've seen so many times teams have shut down this split, right? You look at particular series like UWE, Portsmouth, when Portsmouth just suddenly, that's it. It's like they weren't on the field anymore. Even Salford in the grand finals against Bournemouth, when teams, you can tell that the spirit goes, they're like, nothing seems like it's working. The way they just sort of stop believing. And whilst I think Beckett were a little bit shook in that final minute there, they've had a little bit of time to reset, and I'd like to think they hit the ground running again here in this Game 4.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely didn't look like they were losing their heads, but they were definitely still losing, which is quite an issue. If you're calm and composed and you think you're playing the best that you possibly can, and you're still getting outclassed and feeling second best, then if anything, that's kind of worse than feeling like you're not playing at your maximum. So Beckett, they've really got to find something. It's pretty obvious to me, at least, what they're doing wrong in just giving Salford too much time on the ball and allowing those infield passes to come through and not challenging them. So I think if they can match Salford on pace, then they will be a match for Salford. But if Salford if they continue to allow Salford to play this game and play it well, they're really going to struggle.
Well, we've still got plenty of time to go in this best-of-7 elimination series, of course. And I think Beckett have already started off on the front foot so far in this potentially crucial Game 4. They've already had a couple chances, that one coming off the crossbar. Salford have had to step up the defense, but they have stepped it up. Credit to them. A couple double commits, but they're getting the job done. But Beckett, they're a different team. They've reset coming into this one. But the question is, can Salford weather this storm, and can they get a goal to really frustrate them against the run of play? Likewise on the counter-attack, when they've got that space in midfield that we've talked about multiple times in the earlier games. But this time, they're going to kill it off in the corner despite that double commit. Camo is going to help them out, clear the ball for them, but he's going to take the ball back. He's going to have a little chill here. Are they going to press him early? Yeah, Rahu is going to force him to play it early. He's going to maybe use his boost for the double commit. No, the double touch, sorry. Not quite going to find it. And multiple players required here for Salford. The touch isn't yet clear. And another chance, though. Big save from Camo. Beckett, they certainly look the more dangerous team right now.
Yeah, much better from Beckett on offense. We haven't even really seen them play defense so far. The infield passing plays and the previous game where Salford were just allowed to walk the ball up the pitch. Not happening at all. There are at least 50-50s in the way. Oh, Aaron with a fake, not able to get the second one. Rahu there holding firm on the goal line. Here he is once more trying to air dribble this one into the center, only as far as Jiggy. And now Matty, much better challenge in the midfield. Beckett doing exactly what is being asked of them at the moment. Getting on the board first here as well. And now it looks like Salford are on the back foot.
Aaron may have nearly got a great play at the other end, but he's going to whiff the ball, trying to get the boost at the same time. And a beautiful pinch from Matty ET. And of course, the talisman for Beckett. So many times Beckett, Rahu in the right place there, in the center field, able to clear up. And they will get the first goal of the game for the first time this series, in fact. But shaky on the defense, they may be. Aaron, he's going to punish them immediately with a brutal 50. They did not get a chance to enjoy that lead for long.
No, double commit there coming out. I believe it was Mosley from that back post who just jumped across, wasn't respecting his teammate, was going to be able to challenge that one, and then rabbit in the headlights there. I believe it was Rahu, might have been Matty actually. I think it was Matty, and Aaron just jumped at it and got quite fortunate with that 50-50. But as you say, their lead definitely didn't last very long, and it looks like Salford on the front foot again as Camo going to repeatedly just drive into Rahu for no apparent reason. On the offensive now.
Like two crazy guys just running into each other's skull first, just like seeing which one would crack first. And while the defense of Brett Beckett has cracked first, Salford with an extended stay there despite holiday lockdown rules. Camo is going to get the credit for that backboard play at the end, and Salford are the ones to come from behind this time.
Yes, like such a interesting game, because for that first 2 minutes 30, first half of the game, it looked like Beckett in control, and now, in just over 30 seconds, Salford have scored 3 on the bounce, and I believe it might even be 1 for each player.
Yeah, I mean, Rahu and Maddie both there just click and start on their controllers and go into spectate mode. Unfortunately, G just allowed to fly from the halfway line, despite massively not really reading the ceiling. Bounce was allowed to get that touch from close range, and they nearly kept it out, but they made the job so difficult, unfortunately. And it's easy to sort of let that happen under pressure when you're not sure who's going to go. You know, they've double committed so many times on defense this series that, you know, at some point, you know, they're like, oh, I don't want to go because I don't want to double commit, you know, and end up with nobody going there. That ended up being a bit of a disaster. Salford are again now trying for the turtle shot. Aaron was, and you got to admit, he's really going to be playing on the heartstrings of Beckett with that, like trying to get inside their head. And they've already looked more nervy than they have usually, and understandably so. Aaron, he's not helping that at all, though.
Yeah, well, Beckett, they looked great on offense and in the midfield for the first half, but the second that Salford started to ask questions on the defense, they just started to fall apart. And it was, you know, the world's kind of shortest domino run. It was you pushed one and they just all went over within about 30 seconds. Yeah, a real shame considering how good Beckett looks for the first half of this game. But Salford, it does look like they are going to win this one out as well, barring an absolute miracle. It has been sat in the Salford end for quite a while. Finally managing to break out now is Aaron, and getting the ball again is Mosley. Not with a great touch though. Hasn't been the best series from him. When in their series against Essex, Mosley was on fire, like flexing mechanics, shooting was insane. Like the amount of top corners that he put onto the opposing net was just ridiculous. And he has been a bit quiet, as we were talking about him. He has managed to get one back and put Beckett within touching distance, but they still need another one here, Tolacto.
Yeah, I mean, what a huge comeback it would be, though, for the morale of both teams. The impact of this would be huge, but they've got just over 20 seconds to do. I believe that's Mosley's first goal of the series here. I think, hopefully, not his last. Salford are going to get the touch there. Maddie towards that backboard. Maybe he could have got around it more. It's a big save from Aaron there. Jiggy knows he has time on the back line, though. Such composure to boom that ball deep into the Beckett end. Mosley, though, is going to take his time. He's going to force the fake. Rahu has kept it up. Surely he can't work the angle. It's to the backboard. Mosley is up. It's high. Jiggy is there. He makes the touch. Maddie is up. Oh, his shot not quite on target as Beckett. They had chances that game. They had chances right at the end, but Salford are going to see it out.
Yeah, that was a golden opportunity there. I don't know how much boost Matty had, but I mean, the shot was lackluster in the end, and with 2 defenders in net as well, it was going to have to be a bit of a blinder. So, oh, I have to feel for Beckett there. They looked in control and then just let it slip so quickly and managed to get one back, but by that time it was a bit too late for them. So they've got to do it all again here, and now on match point as well. I believe 3-1 series score currently.
Elimination point.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned, but the winner of this will go on in the bracket in that lower quarterfinal to face Erasmus Esports Rotterdam. Salford, they're looking to do it this game, but Beckett Bears, they essentially have to reverse sweep in a best of 5 now if they want to book their spot in the next round.
Yeah, they need the 3 in a row there. Better signs for them in that game 5, but crucially, they couldn't see it out despite out-shooting 8-7. Salford again getting the better. They look too clinical on offense. The defense of Beckett, they're going to get away with that one. 15 seconds in. Camo with a great shot towards the top corner, but the Abrai is going to get in the way of him there, and nothing's going to get in the way of Maddie's shot there. The crossbar and the defense doing him a favor, but once again, Beckett starting off on the right note.
Yep, striking first once again are Beckett, exactly what they needed to do a lot earlier than they did before, about 2 minutes earlier to be exact. It was half time before we saw an opener in the previous game, but they've managed to get on the front foot nice and early here, although again it might not be for long. That touch from Aaron almost catching out Mosley. Jiggy tried to go into the centre, of actually 50-50 by his own teammate there, which I don't really think helped things, but bit of ping pong going on in the midfield at the moment. Aaron just hitting that one into no man's land, not really able to look for a teammate there. Jiggy picking it up on that right hand side. Camo, is he going to leave this one? Does something, yes. And now it's in the wheels of Jiggy, who is just, what is happening, Tylactor?
I think it was just Camo was just the embodiment of the meme where the guy is turning around to look at the girl in the red dress, where he saw the big boost pill,
yes.
And then he was just like, I don't care about this ball. I'm boosting back down. I want that boost. And well, Salford could pay the price for it. I think a 2-goal lead would be massive for Beckett, and Jiggy is going to save it off the inside of the post. A huge save. We saw a huge save make the difference for Beckett in game 1, their only game of the series, and Jiggy could do something similar here in game 5. We're seeing Mosley required on the back line again here. He's going to have to buy time, but Aaron denying that boost, and you think the more Beckett turtle up, the worse it seems to get for them. Salford just so good at thriving under the space and confidence of each other and the space they are given. So Beckett looking to prevent that and sort of nip that one in the bud, and with some offense here, they may have a chance to do just that. And a loose touch, but Maddie just a tiny bit too close. Gave, plenty of respect to Aaron there, but he's going to get away with that one. But still, the lead is Leeds Beckett, and that's the most important thing for them. In the purple side, looking great on Neo Tokyo, but you have to say it is a nervous lead. It's lasted longer than last time, but Salford always looking dangerous when they counter-attack, but that one staying out the net, but not for long. Rahu is just about going to get it into the back of the net. 26 kph. Aaron couldn't quite keep it out.
Yeah, and that goal definitely couldn't have come at a better time, because Beckett, they were starting to look shaky and a bit hesitant, and I didn't think that second goal was going to come through. So surprised to see that one, but if you're a Beckett fan, definitely going to be thankful for it. But they're looking to get a third here. Salford, they haven't really looked like they've managed to get warm and comfortable this game, but honestly, neither have Beckett. So I think that Beckett are definitely fortunate to have this 2-goal lead right now.
Maybe even going to be 3. I don't know how fortunate they are given the amount of pressure they've had, and maybe the fake flip reset, the 50 not going to find itself on target. A great patient play from Mosley though. Rahu winning out a 50 as well. Beckett are all over this Salford defense. I think they've just sort of hit them. They really have nothing to lose at this point. It's go out with a bang in this tournament much rather than going out on a whimper. Salford may have it in cruise control a bit right now, but they are trying to fight back with 2 minutes left on the clock. But Leeds Beckett are flying forward to intercept. The likes when they've looked at their best is what they have been doing. Mosley having to respond in the corner though. Salford now getting possession. The backboard read uncontested once again. Jiggy misreading it though, and the touch is made to stop Aaron's shot. They're gonna hold on, but for how long? The read is Mosley's. Can he run it down the other end of the field? Jiggy can't keep it out, and it will be 3.
Yeah, just a weird goal there. Slow roller and no one from Salford back. Jiggy was definitely on his way, but Salford, they've just kind of looked half asleep. Like, we've literally seen them go from, 110% like NSC topping Salford to second to Beckett Bears in the space of a couple of games. So I'm really kind of confused what has changed. Maybe they've just kind of, consciously taken their foot off the gas, as that was a interesting bump there coming out from the two teammates of the Beckett Bears. But Matty, that's a good shot onto net. Can Camo get there? Yes, not too much power on that and able to get control of that one. Camo, interestingly, wasting time there despite being 3 goals down. So I don't really think Salford are, champing at the bit to try and win this one. Although an open net has been gifted. Aaron. Oh, it's been saved. How has that not gone in? Camo and Aaron both just tickled the ball and didn't score.
At that point, here to Salford, you just say go next. Like, they're just completely done with this game if that doesn't go in. In their defense, the third only really happened because they had to chase the 2-goal deficit so hard, and well, good patience from Beckett to punish and really see this game out well. And maybe they could have got back into it, but yeah, that chance, it's quite the entertaining one to watch. We'll have to see if it gets on their nerves in terms of to experience, but that was quite something. I mean, credit to Rahu there, who panicked like hell, pre-jumped the save and would have looked silly, but then somehow had the time to backflip it out of his own net and could have actually kept the Leeds Beckett clean sheet here.
Oh man, Mosley. Oh, he looked for the double touch and then the save from Mosley. Is Matty going to score now? Oh my goodness, just the 200 IQ play there. The pass over to Matty. We're not going to see that save on the replay, unfortunately, but that was, it kind of just sets the scene for this whole game. It felt really sloppy, to be honest with you, from both sides, and it was Beckett Bears that benefited from that kind of loose style of play. So they are going to get their second game on the board here and avoid an early exit, we should say, but still it is Salford on match point in this series.
Yeah, still they are, but they're running out of lives. You can say sloppy defense, maybe. Maybe the offense has just stepped up, and maybe the best defending came when they were defending their own, the opponent's net for them, in the case of both teams. I mean, credit to Beckett getting 4. That is no fluke in that game there. Salford definitely, I think, wanted it to be more run-of-the-mill. Definitely wanted to be able to see it out, but Beckett would not lie down. They outshot heavily in that game, and they are back within touching distance. But like we say, still on their last life here on DFH. But if they can get first blood again, who's knowing how far they could go, because they are 1 game away from a Game 7.
Yeah, we are 1 game away from that Game 7, which Achinal did predict. So if we go to a Game 7, I'm sure he'll be a very happy, smug man, as I will be if Salford win this game and my prediction comes to fruition. But we will have to see. That was a completely ignoring what actually happened that game. That was quite a stomp from Beckett there. We haven't seen I don't even think we've seen a 3-goal cushion. Oh my goodness. Jiggy flip reset attempt, not going to come through. Mosley just dashed across his line there to save that. But yeah, going back to that game score, the 4-0, not seen yet so far. And also the shutout there. Salford only put 4 shots on the board in that previous game. Considering they put about 16 on the board in game number 2, I think they've definitely kind of taken their foot off the gas pedal a little bit here.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's fair to say that Beckett have also ramped up, given the fact they really have just felt like, well, we really have nothing else to lose at this point. Has Mosley committed too far forward? Oh, yes, he has. Aaron, it's not going to be a pretty one, but sure to sure there, Salford going to frustrate Beckett on defense, and a simple punish is going to give them the opening goal.
Yeah, I think that was, just a bit of hesitation there from Mosley. It's so easy to do when that ball is just sitting in front of goal for so long. You just find yourself creeping forwards more and more, not able to get the kickoff there. Goal there from Mosley. Just don't think he had the boost to be able to keep that offense going, but instead chose to take that corner and try and starve Salford a little bit. But they were able to break out onto offense, just kind of sitting in the midfield at the moment. It is Mosley now into the corner once more, getting bumped out of the way, and the ball falling at the feet of Jiggy. It's now Aaron, but with 0 boost, has to get that 50-50, thankfully, over towards Camo. Another 50-50 coming through. Mosley just fires one onto net. Ryu was looking for the pre-flip there just to try and bait out the defense, and it almost worked. Matty, is he going to go all the way here? He is. I guess some sort of fake there. Maybe the defender thought that the pop was going to come through, but instead the ball just runs underneath, completely untouched. Oh, it's a huge whiff from Aaron. Tie scoreline now from the Beckett.
Honestly, that's a 1v3 play there from Matty Aaron. Who knows? He may have had a ping spike, is what it looked. I saw he had a red flashing ping. I immediately checked the scoreboard in his defense. I think that may have been what happened, but regardless, he will be the one at full when it comes down to it. And another chance from Beckett there. What a turnaround that would have been if they got 2 in quick succession.
Yeah, it really would be. They might get another one here. Mosley, the shot was impeccable, but onto the crossbar. Had the defense completely beaten there as he just fired it off the backboard straight to himself. Beautiful read, but not going to get there. The bump, though, down off the crossbar. Can they convert? No, Jiggy has sent this one away. No boost. It's going to have to be Aaron making it 50-50 into the corner. Jiggy going for it again, looking for Camo in the midfield. Shot is not very convincing. Aaron, shot also not very convincing. Awkward angle, though, so definitely difficult to generate power on that. Here comes Matty trying to get a touchdown into the midfield, looking for that infield passing play. Now are the Beckett Bears as well. Jiggy beaten to this one by Mosley. Is he going to try and go over the top? Opts for the infield once more, but again we see from the Beckett Bears just committing that one man upfield and leaving 2 at the back line.
I think it's fair to say it's been working decently. They really should have had a second. It's so unfortunate for Matty. He goes for that area as fast as he can. You don't expect the bump to actually come through, but what a bump it was from Rahu. And unfortunately, it was going to be a sore ending if Beckett cannot force this game 7. Matty has not scored the goal. He has managed to put Salford's crossbar into A&E, but that was not the aim when he tried to take that shot, and it could prove costly here into the final 2 minutes. We are still at deadlock, and Beckett are trying to scramble a little bit off the defense here. Matty is going to get the touch off the backboard, but the immediate response from Aaron there, Salford beginning to close the grip on the Beckett half. Camo is going to get the boost and ball, but Matty with a big interception here is going to force Salford to be the ones onto that back foot. Rahu realizes he's got time, but a little rush coming out the corner of his eye forces him to rush at Jiggy with a big impact there, and he's going to get a redirect to force them back again. The demo for the shot. Oh, it's top corner sniper, Aaron.
Yeah, it's Salford. Sorry, Beckett Bears at the moment. They're really struggling to clear their lines, and when they do, the pressure just isn't there. It's down to the Salford end and straight back up within a matter of seconds. And when you've got people like Aaron shooting like that, you've got to try and suffocate them a bit more. And they were able to do it at some points, but they haven't been able to consistently. And now, with only a minute left, they were chasing one. They're still chasing one. Enormous save from Mosley, keeping them in this one.
Yeah, they've kept him in it, but for how long? A beautiful counter-attack from Salford. A whiff going to surprise Matty there. Jiggy is going to buy more time on the back line with the flip reset pinch there. He is at the top of his game. The 50 going to force Beckett back again here. They're running out of time. They're probably getting 2 chances at the most here. It might just be 1. It's an inconsistent touch from Mosley. It's recovered by Matty, but Salford, they've got time to get back the loose touch. Rahu has to chase it up. He's going to get the mid boost, but he's not going to get the ball. Mosley, he will get it though. The pre-jump, it's onto the backboard, but easy save for Camo. It's routine, intercepted by Matty. He's popped it over one. He can't get the other. He's tried to bump him, but Jiggy is back in time again. It's 10 seconds left. Leeds Beckett need the ball, but Jiggy has broken another pair of axles. Add another to the list. Mosley has tried to recover it, but Camo is up, and Salford are gonna kill it off here. Leeds Beckett may have run far, but they have ran out of their legs. They are eliminated, and Salford Lions, they move on.
Well, yeah, I just want to let everyone know that you are now in the presence of a prediction god. 4-2 Salford was exactly how I thought this was going to go, and that's what happened. And I think the storyline was as we expected. You know, Salford on paper were the better team coming into it. Beckett, they had shown, you know, glimpses of brilliance against teams that perhaps they weren't expected to beat, and sometimes against teams that, you know, they had really good performances against teams that many expected them not to beat. That 4-0 sweep against Essex in the previous round, Exhibit A, you could say. But Salford, I just think that they were, that little bit too much, and especially we saw them playing at their best for sure at times that series in game 2, especially where they put up 16 shots. So yeah, I think Salford they met their match in Salford, we can say.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Leeds, Beckett, it may be unfortunate how that series happened, but if you told them coming into this split that they'd be unfortunate to miss out on NSE Championship bracket and they'd be getting this far in EURC, let alone even qualifying in the first place, I'm sure they'd have broke your wrist shaking your hand on that one. Salford, I mean, to be fair, I didn't give a series score on my prediction, Ryan. I did say Salford. I probably would have gone
you're just wrong.
As well, but
wrong.
It means nothing at this point, as I would have consulted the Lava Lamp, so I would never have been wrong anyway. I do have good news, boys and girls, that we will have an interview with Jiggy after the break as well. Interesting to get their thoughts coming off their series. We'll see what Jiggy makes of their upcoming match against Erasmus and what they make of the series and season they've had in general. Of course, we haven't caught up with Salford after the NSE final as well. We have lots to talk about because we still have another series today. And boy, it's an upper bracket one, determining who plays the Portsmouth Paladins in the upper bracket final. It's, of course, tournament favourites Berlin Phoenix going up against their fellow city men, Basilisks Berlin. That'll be our last series, along with a Jiggy interview. We'll have that after the break.
I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you wanted and shouldn't fly to home.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to EURC. We've still got one series left today, but I'll have you know that none of that matters right now because we have just seen a smashing series between the Salford Lions and the Beckett Bears, and we have a particular member of the Salford Lions with us here today, of course, following that 4-2 victory, and sometimes convincing, sometimes scary. How was that series going to play, G? I mean, thanks for joining here, of course, and what are your thoughts coming off that one?
Well, it's the first time I've actually played with Cameron Aaron because I was switching teams all the time. So at the start, I was just seeing how he was actually going to play, but it wasn't actually that bad. I mean, he started to come into it a bit near the end, but I think we've got the overall skill to beat him pretty easily.
I mean, that's fair enough. Credit to the roster and the flexibility as well. I mean, how did you feel like Aaron played? Do you feel like you immediately need to kick him off the team? Because we thought he played pretty damn well and he scored some cracking goals.
No, Aaron's a super solid player. Aaron's a super solid player. You can always rely on him. The only thing you can't rely on is his internet. I think you'll see second before last game, he gets a shot this right arm and he just lags completely out the way of it and he's missed it. And he just goes lagging. So that's the only thing we need to watch out for.
Yeah, a very questionable whiff we actually saw. My immediate reaction was to check the score, but I saw a red flashing hazard.
Yeah.
That makes sense now. Well, of course, we've got the beautiful man Jiggy here, who actually he's not as cool as us, right? Doesn't have his lava lamp here, but I'm sure you can talk down to our fellow non-lava lamp brethren here if you'd like to ask him. Beautiful question, because of course they've got quite the series, I'm sure, coming up on Championship Sunday.
Well, yes. I mean, that was a series that I predicted against you, Jiggy, but you can watch it back. I said I think you would win. I just predicted against you for an underdog tail.
Okay.
I think these guys, they gave you a bit of a run for your money. Perhaps something that some people weren't expecting. They came out, played very solidly. You say you have it obviously all in the bag. You did mechanically outclass them towards the end of that series, and in the end, they sort of had a few moments of their own downfall kind of shooting in that last game as well. They could have gone up in that series. Obviously now you're going against Rotterdam in your, that's a big match to be early on our Sunday bracket as well. So is that going to be same game plan for you, same kind of deal, or do you reckon you have to take it up a notch, change anything? What's the thought process?
Well, I have no idea who Rotterdam are, and I have no idea how to play.
That might help you. You never know.
So yeah, I mean, no, obviously we just need to go in, play confident, because sometimes we start series a bit cold. I think we've seen it before. We just need to make sure we go in hot and we'll be all right.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what you think about that Orion. I don't think Calio, Maxio, and Onko will be too amused that they've just been done like that on the main stream here. Of course, we've seen Salford play pretty well today. We've seen them play pretty incredible in the past as well, but there's times at which we have had our questions and our doubts. I'm curious what you have to ask Jiggy while we've got him here about that.
First things first, who is actually going to be playing in that game, or do you not even know the answer to that question yet?
I have no clue. I imagine it will still be me and Camo, and it depends if Artin or Aaron can play. Yeah, that's usually what it is. I think if Artin can play, then he will, but if not, we'll have to go back to Aaron.
I mean, both look great. Like I said about Aaron, that despite kind of being the sub of the team, he has had two pretty exceptional performances recently. Like, what is there any real difference in dynamic between playing with Artin instead of Aaron, or is it just kind of take one piece out and put another piece in, and it's pretty much the same for both you and Camo?
I'd say Aaron and Cam are more in a similar play style. They're more the third man. Me and Artin are more the ball chase, and they just let us do what we want. So it can be a bit different switching up to one of them when there's two third man, but Aaron can slot in quite nicely, and Camo's a smart guy, and I just get to monkey around, so it goes quite well.
Sounds like a plan. I mean, yeah, certainly at times it has looked fantastic. I mean, you had a fantastic season in NSC. It may not have ended on the happiest of notes. I'm curious if you want to touch on that, but also with my last question, I would say, is for EURC here, potentially, I would say your chance at redemption. Of course, you were really unlucky to have to start in the lower bracket despite a decent group stage. You've made this run, but what's the goal in terms of how far you want to get in order to say that you're satisfied with the performance here?
To be honest, I'm looking to go to the final, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, winning the final might be a bit of an, to be honest. But no, I think we've got what it takes to go to the final, give a team a run for their money.
Yeah. That's fair enough. I mean, you might get a chance to get revenge on Bournemouth on the way, depending on how that other matches go, of course. But like we say, your next matchup will be up against Erasmus Esports Rotterdam. That'll be on Championship Sunday, this very Sunday, the 25th. And of course, a great series you've played there, Jiggy. Thanks very much for joining us here on the panel. Thanks for having this interview. Of course, looking fabulous. Your room, practically a mansion. Unfortunately, we'll have to say goodbye to you and look forward to our next series. So that was Jiggy of Salford there. A fantastic interview from him. I was curious that he didn't actually know who Erasmus Esports Rotterdam was. Honestly, to be fair to him, that's confidence if I ever heard it. I don't know how amused they'll be with that, but no, nice to get that as well off that series. And it was a little bit of a scary one at times. I did think if Beckett had more confidence in that game 6, they could have forced that game 7. But in terms of confidence, in terms of expectation, I mean, coming into this next series, I think it's fair to say there's little expectation from us on the Berlin Basilisks. You know, it's the sad thing when we have to discuss how many games do we think they're going to get instead of do we think they can actually take the series.
Yeah, I mean it's harsh for them. This is a match that I'm sure will mean more to them than most, because obviously cross-city rivalry, I would imagine, factors quite a lot into it. If my experience of Britain's cross-city matches, varsities, we see a lot of, they're very important. People take them really seriously, even if there's that mismatch. And unfortunately for the Basilisks, there is that mismatch tonight. It just so happens that their cross-field, their cross-town rivals are arguably the best team in this tournament, which is a bit of a shame for them, because I feel like they've played really, really well so far. But of course, this is, of tonight, the only match that we're seeing that is upper bracket. This is not going to mean the end of the road for the Basilisks here, because I'll do a spoiler. I think they will lose, but that's not the end of the world. I think they've obviously they'll get that second chance, and I think in that lower bracket against some of the other teams, they'd be obviously facing up against Bournemouth. I do believe if that is the case, that could be a much closer series for them.
No, I mean, I think it's massive props to the Berlin Basilisks to getting to this point. Getting to the upper semi-finals is going to do them wonders here, and they could easily go further in the tournament. The question is, they do have a chance to right here. At the end of the day, the series is not done and tied up. We may be predicting Berlin Phoenix favourites, Orion, but I can give you a fact that Twitch chat currently aren't. It's 67% in favour of Berlin Basilisks. So if you want to gamble all your life savings on the Berlin Phoenix, now is probably the time to do it. There is limited time left on that channel point prediction. I'm curious what you think about that, because with the lobby imminently coming towards the next game, I'm also curious who, shock horror, you'll be predicting to take this best of 7.
I mean, like, while you were talking, I was debating just going for Basilisks just on a complete whim, but I can't. I think it's pretty inevitable that we're going to see a 4-0 sweep. If we see a 4-1, then I think that will be a good result for the Basilisks.
Well, I mean, I'm curious what you think of that, actually. Whether you're thinking your underdog card is one you can really play here, or if you just get it broken, if you really do have to dedicate yourself to the Basilisks.
There comes a time when I can throw that underdog card so many times, and then one of these days will come back on the desk afterwards, and one of you is just going to take it off me. I feel like, no disrespect to the Phoenix, I love an underdog story. If Basilisks come out, make a really good game of this, and take it in a fantastic, late series stage, I'd love to see it personally. I think that would be the kind of excitement and drama that we're all here for. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a bit more mundane. I think the Phoenix will take this relatively comfortably. I'd like to give the Basilisks 1, maybe 2 games. I think, that they will manage to keep it closer than perhaps a lot of Berlin Phoenix's opponents have so far. But I still think the Phoenix have to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, I have to think along a similar vein there. I will take your underdog card, though, as I do believe Berlin Basilisks are good enough to get at least 2 games in this series. Now, I think if Berlin Phoenix really get that ball rolling and really hit the ground running, there really is no chance. But just off the off chance that we can catch them sleeping today, I think Basilisks are so happy to have earned this game. They will be making the most of it, I believe. So I will predict them. I do think it's 90% in Phoenix's favour, but I do think this will be the 10%. I want to believe in the Berlin Basilisk, and I don't want any of you to flame me if I do, and when I may inevitably turn out to be wrong. It's definitely a potential.
Man,
definitely gonna believe in it, and yeah, Phoenix still come in as favourites, but I will not be counting out the Berlin Basilisk until proven so in about half an hour's time. But that would be quite a quick best of 7. You two will be joining us for it. Orion and Atch will be taking it down to the field for this best of 7 upper bracket.
Right. So, Tylacto, a braver man than both of us. I was tempted. I was very, very tempted. I think it's a very unique setup for this series in that the Basilisks here, I think they obviously have the sort of tactical / game-based disadvantage, but mentally I think they probably have the advantage. They can come in here, they go, we get thrown out of this in a 4-0, no one's even going to bat an eyelid. So they have nothing to lose here. And the Phoenix, of course, you know, they're obviously very seasoned players. I'm not sure they'll be thinking like this, but they could get into a point. You know, we've been talking about that sucker punch mentality all night long. If the Basilisks come out swinging, suddenly the Berlin Phoenix go, oh my goodness, you know, this could really be bad if we lose this. This might become really serious. So we'll just have to see. Fairly neutral pressure so far. Yato on the clear. Oh, he's not. He's beaten out Black Close. Done well there. Quint in the corner. Shermer off the right-hand wall. Into the middle it might go, but the Phoenix make it clear. About a minute of relatively neutral play so far, Orion. No clear-cut chance.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same mind as you. You know, I think this honestly could be the best that we've seen Basilisks play all season. Like,
no
as you say, they have nothing to lose, so why not throw everything at it? I mean,
they've lost that.
The Berlin Phoenix, they are going to get the first goal, and I mean, if you're a betting man, you probably would have predicted it. But I mean, up until that point, it was pretty even. I would say it was just the pace there of Tigri onto that ball caught out the defense on that occasion. But yeah, going back to my previous point, I really think we will see, you know, Basilisks at their best. Like, even if they lose 4-0, I still think that we're going to see a pretty exceptional game from them, because, you know, when there's no pressure, especially in an upper bracket as well, you can kind of just really relax and find your rhythm. There's no kind of like, I need to do this. It's, well, if I don't do this, the worst thing that can happen is they score and then we get another kickoff and then we try it again. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking right now.
No, 100%. I agree with you. The only thing that I worry about for the Basilisks, obviously, this isn't just an underdog story for them. This, perhaps, I have no idea, of course, how seriously they take this rivalry. If I was a rival of the Berlin Phoenix, I might not be taking. I'd be deliberately trying to downplay that, I think. Although they've scored, Moppy's putting it back, and perhaps that fire of the regional, you know, the cross-city rivalry, just about to say perhaps it will get them in, you know, in their own heads, but maybe it will fire them up. They've tied it up here. Still plenty of time left in game 1.
Yeah, that was a backflip from Nagflow there at the front post, and very unusual. Tigri there, not behind him either, so not an open net, but definitely a shot that could have been blocked, and now we go to a tie game. Might not have lasted for very long if Nagflow had been able to find that shot into the midfield. Yato with a booming clear away. Berlin Phoenix leaving themselves open once more. Nagflow had to get back to that one right at the last second. Tigri away now, finding Quinn. It was an open net, but he has missed that one. It was kind of a difficult shot, you know. It was coming across his car quite quickly, so he definitely had to pick his spot. But Nagflow just going to out-muscle everyone there in the midfield. Bit of a double commit coming through from the Basilisks as well. Mocky not able to recover in time. Nagflow making it 2.
Yeah, it's a shame, you know, that clear from Mocky could have been really promising. Unfortunately, just caught it a little bit too far under the ball, knocked it straight into the ceiling. Maybe it was what he was looking for, maybe he didn't communicate it quite well with Shermer, but they're back down again. But the fact that they got their equalising goal the first time so quickly does give, you know, me a fair bit of hope for this series as a whole. I think even if the Phoenix do end up winning these games, the Basilisks look to have what it takes to keep it at least close. And, you know, the fact that they are putting on some really creative offense, they've been doing it all tournament long, but you'd think, obviously, against a team of this caliber, this would be the time where your nerves get the better of you and it all sort of starts to come crumbling. But so far, so good for both sides. Yeah,
well, that was a great block there. No double commit as well, crucially, from the side of the Basilisks. Big clear. Can Tigri get to this one? Oh, that was such a hard touch to make. But, you know, seasoned player is Tigri, currently competing in our RCS, I believe, with, it's not Illusion, is it? No. I'm going to get this completely wrong. Help me out here, John.
Me, Orion. I have no idea. I know he is. I must admit,
German
I
amigos. I
focused
can't
my
remember.
energy on
White
EUR.
Demons. Thank you very much, Kizza990, for
There we go.
saving my bacon there. He is
I could
currently
have got
playing
that
with
from
White
his clan
Demons.
tag. I saw him. I was like, what does
Ah, yeah,
WDM
WDM.
stand
It's
for?
right there in front of
Yeah,
us. But
it's all right.
so, yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're too focused on EUR to follow RLCS, you know? When there's, you know, when Quint's banging goals in for fun like that, and he's managed to get rid of his open net curse already, what do you need the competitive scene for? We've got this.
Yep, tucks that one in at the near post, completely open net there. No one back after that demolition, and now I think a scoreline that pretty much reflects how this game has gone so far. I definitely think Berlin Phoenix deserved to score 3, maybe 4. They had an open net to make it 4, but wasn't converted, and that one goal from the Basilisks was pretty hard fought, you know, and they have been fighting hard and digging deep. There hasn't been many mistakes from them. It just is when you play against, you know, this higher class of player capable of just shooting and constant pressure, the boost management as well, and starving you on boost. It's so hard to do anything against. Can Tigre get the flip reset here? Didn't get the flip, but has managed to get a double touch there. Beautiful drop down from him, and now 4 goals going in for Berlin Phoenix.
I like the style of play that they're going for here, the Phoenix. You see a lot of teams, you know. I think it's fair to say, obviously, all the players on the Phoenix are very talented, but perhaps Tigre and Nagflow, you know, the kind of people you would expect to be racking up the points there. Quint, you know, perhaps not quite the same level as them. And often you see it when teams have that imbalance in themselves. You see their, you know, quote-unquote star man or star men trying to make everything happen. You know, you see them going for the fancy plays, the really cool shots, and then they leave their last man back on defense, and that's where they get caught out. Whereas Berlin Phoenix seems to be letting Quint largely go for a lot of things, you know, how he wants to, and then being ready and eagerly positioned, quick to the ball to make the most of the chances that he creates, because he's doing really well in that role. So it's going really well for them. That's a great pass. Yato off the post. Moki's going to slot that in. It might not matter, but again, promising signs from the Basilisks.
Yeah, just a little bit switched off there were Berlin Phoenix, and a beautiful passing plays. As I say, Basilisks, they're doing a lot of things right. You know, against any other opposition right now, they probably would look like the better team. But it is, as you say, that duo of Tigre and Nagflow that is dominant in EUR competition right now. And going back to talking about Quint, as you were, in kind of the same vein, if he was on any other team, he would, you know, he would look pretty exceptional. But it is so hard when you're playing on a team of professional players. You know, me being on a team with Tylacto previously, even if I was playing at 110%, it would always be Tylacto that would be that one standout player still. It's hard to match that, just because, you know, they do have that bit more experience and are better in most areas of the game. So I think, you know, I don't think we should be talking down on Quint. He definitely holds his own and is an integral part of that team. So, yeah, but, you know, when you are with the likes of Tigre and Nagflow, it's hard to stand out.
It is, but, you know, I really like the way they're making the most of, you know, I think it would be really tempting for them every time they get the ball to be going, right, I'm off for the ceiling double touch penta flip reset to try and score all these fancy goals. But they're letting Quint do his thing, you know, and Quint's a very talented player. He's beating a lot of these Basilisk players to the ball outright by himself, creating chances. He got a goal and an assist in that game number 1. And, you know, those other guys, Nagflow and Tigre, they know what to do. They know where to be when Quint's got the ball to maximise their chance of converting on the opportunities. And they've done really well. Quint was in no way outclassed in that game 1, but his teammates helped him out a lot by positioning well around him.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I think it was kind of the story that we were expecting to see, and the Basilisks were playing very well, but, you know, just a class above there were Berlin Phoenix, and they were able to overcome the Basilisks in game 1. And I think going forward, that could be the outlook for the whole series, to be honest. It seems like the teams on paper are playing how, you know, or sorry, the teams on the field are playing how we would expect them to perform on paper.
Yeah, I think that's a great bump. Tigre looking for a second. He'll get one. Off the backboard it comes. Quint's got to be careful here. Yato looking to capitalise on this, and he could. There's the flip reset. There's the shot. He's dished it off the crossbar. The Basilisks showing that they're not just here for fun. What an absolute screamer from Yato. Hit it so hard he had to get it again, otherwise I'm not sure that would have gone in.
Oh, that's definitely a way to announce yourself. Yato with the flip reset off the crossbar. I think the touch at the end was fortunate, but everything before that was pure skill. And they are going to get a lead here, are the Basilisks. And it's like, what do you do now? Do you continue to commit against Berlin Phoenix? And never mind, it's 1-1.
Gone. To answer your question, yes. As soon as they scored, they sat back. I think that was their big mistake. Then they've all been, sat on the goal line there. Mocky had to do a 3-point turn to get around to that, couldn't complete it in time. I think you have to keep pressing. At the end of the day, if you're scoring goals like that against the Berlin Phoenix, you can afford to keep pressing. You don't need to overcommit, but you just don't want to sit back because Berlin Phoenix will score those kind of goals against you as well. You've got to keep the pressure up just enough to keep them thinking and not give them enough time in the midfield to do things like that.
Yeah, we definitely saw that in the previous series as well. The Beckett Bears were giving Salford too much space, and in that instance, too much time, space, and just room to think. Although, bit of an overcommit now. That was a huge demo, but Quint has managed to get back before Sherma can really do anything with it. And now a clear from Tigray over towards Nagflow. Can he get this one on target with the pre-flip? No, it's going to be Yato in control, but not for very long. Absolutely deleted off the field. It was a double demo. Nagflow getting one as well. Here's Tigray, not a lot of boost though. Can he get the flip over one? Gonna opt to leave this one. Just taking the ball for a Sunday drive at the moment was Tigray, but finally challenged. Bit of space opening up now. Tigray demoed. Mocky, can he get this one centered for Yato? No, Quint reading that infield passing play beautifully, and Nagflow not gonna go for the shot there. Opts to stay in possession. Trying to drop this one down to Quint. He was going to get beaten to it. There is Tigray over to Nagflow, dropping from the heavens, but not able to make contact. And we are still at 1-1 here.
Basilisks, for all the times that we've thought the Phoenix might score some fantastic goals, Basilisks still leading the clip of the day compilation for me at the minute. Yato had all the answers. Sherma looking for something else spectacular. He might just get it. What a play! Fakes the high air dribble, looks for the backboard. Berlin Phoenix try the backboard and it's already too late. Look at that, he slows it down beautifully and Tigray can't get back. The Basilisks are playing out of their minds right now.
Yeah, mechanics well and truly on show, and from more than one player. Yato with that flip reset double off the crossbar, and now Sherma with an air dribble pretty much across half the pitch, getting the Basilisks back in front here. I didn't think we'd be saying that an awful lot, but we've said it twice so far in just this one game, and now Berlin Phoenix, they've still got half the game left, and you would say if any team can score here, it would be Berlin Phoenix, so we'll have to see if they can get themselves on the board. But Sherma looking for another one, tried to get the bump. Can Mocky get a third here? It is going to be a third for the Basilisks, and they are really taking the fight to Berlin Phoenix now.
Either they're listening to us, Orion, or they're quick learners. They took that second lead and they were not in a mood to sit back and try and, perch atop it for the rest of that 2 minutes. They've doubled it now, and again, I still think their best form of defense is good offense. We've seen that any one of them really can carry the ball a very long way in the air and still be a big threat. And that's all you need. You don't need to be sending 2-3 men on the offense when you're up, but you need them to be thinking about what that one man might be doing. And I think Yato and Sherma have shown already that one man is enough to make you think if you're the Berlin Phoenix.
Yeah, and I think this now kind of sets us up for the Basilisks' best opportunity to win a game this series. We said that it could well be a 4-0 sweep. It still could well be a 4-0 sweep. But, with that 2-goal lead, I don't think I was really expecting to see that at all during the series. And now with only about 1:30 left, it could be a 3-goal lead. Yep. It is going to be a 3-goal lead. And I'm starting to believe that Basilisks, if they can take a game, how far can they really go with this series? Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but really, honestly, what is this series going to look like?
It's very interesting. Practically every time we've predicted, a relatively docile time for the team facing the underdog, they seem to have struggled. These Berlin Phoenix guys have, the other thing worth mentioning as well, earlier tonight, Quint gets one back, makes this game still interesting. There's only 2 left now in 1:15, but this is not a Bournemouth syndrome game from the Berlin Phoenix. They have not really noticeably, at least in my eyes, taken their foot off the gas or decided to have a laugh and try some fancy plays that aren't really necessary. They've just been outclassed on the solo plays offensively from the Basilisks. They've played really well. And although now it's, you know, a bit more precarious for them, they've still got time on their side and a 2-goal lead. And Shermer off the ceiling. Can he get it again? Not quite, but that's faked out too. And the bump! Shermer's been bumped into a save. Harsh for the Basilisks, with the ball's in the right place for them. And time is really not on the Phoenix's side.
No, it absolutely isn't, and they're actually being penned in their half right now
really
by the Basilisks, like completely on
Great
their own merit.
pass.
Infield pass, that was a great play from the Basilisks. Still, you know, keeping their heads against this team. I think, you know, these two teams obviously played each other probably more than any other teams have played each other in this competition in terms of their, you know, domestic at a domestic level. So I think that's kind of where the confidence is stemming from. You know, you think of a UK team going up against the Basilisks, and you just look at the names Tigri and Nagflo and go, oh god, we're going to lose. Whereas Berlin Basilisks, you know, they play these guys on a regular basis. It's a much more normal occasion for them. And so I don't think they're quite getting the stage fright that we might see from competition elsewhere in Europe. And they are really giving us a series here.
Yeah, I think that comes back to that kind of mentality we were talking about right from the start in game one, you know, that we've got nothing to lose. I like to imagine that Shermer and Yato took to the skies with a sort of slightly half-resigned, well, sod it, I might as well. And, you know, they're mechanically fantastic. We get to see these goals again on the replay, which I'm very glad about, but fantastic from them. You know, they've played absolutely brilliantly there, and I think actually outclassed the Phoenix pretty much at their own game there. You know, the infield passing we didn't see much, but when it was there, it was fantastic from the Basilisks. After the first lead went away, they learned quickly that sitting back, not really an option against this Phoenix team, and they've done really, really well to make a tie series here.
Yeah, and crucially, like, this is huge for in terms of the tournament. This is the first time that a team has taken a game off Berlin Phoenix absolutely on merit. I think it was it NUIG Griffins?
Yeah, they asked for
that
one,
they
so Berlin
asked
gave them.
to, yeah. So
I mean,
this is
they're still on the stat line.
Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, honestly, even if Berlin Phoenix take the next 3, this is a really good result for the Basilisks.
Yeah,
so even dropping to lowers, just to take that game off Berlin Phoenix and going down, knowing that, you know, they really can challenge the best in the tournament.
Yeah,
that's got to give them confidence that if they do drop to that lower bracket, they can make it all the way back to that grand final.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's worth reiterating as well, maybe, you know, in case people missed it at home, that was not a game that the Basilisks eked out. It was not a fortunate bounce in an overtime that set them up for victory or anything like that. They had the lead for the vast majority of that game. They dominated, they kept it in, they played really well, and they deserved that win. You know, you can't take that away from them really with anything that the Phoenix did. The Basilisks were doing better. The solo plays were all there, team plays doing really well. You know, I think, you know, without wanting to preempt anything too much, there could be something of a series on our hands. That's off the post. Mocky respawns on the right side. Yato will get a touch. He's gone for the wall. I thought he might go infield. It's left Tigre with the ball, but a key bump on Quint means the Phoenix won't get any offense. Basilisks look to attack again. Yato looking for the touch. Nagflo in an awkward spot. Who's to it first? Quint beats out Mocky, and the Phoenix look to get away, but again, the Basilisks giving as good as they've got here in game number 3.
Yeah, and I think one thing that the Basilisks are doing really well is they're trying to be unpredictable.
Yes,
and just
they
try
are
and
so creative.
Yeah, they're really trying to frustrate Berlin Phoenix. We're not seeing, you know, bread and butter vanilla Rocket League at all. It's just kind of throwing the dice and finding something new every time, and it really is kind of disrupting the rhythm of Berlin Phoenix, which we've seen them just have so often. Oh my goodness, though, Nagflo with an impossible angle, didn't even need to get the power on the shot. Just by getting that touch alone, the defense was well and truly beaten. Wow, what a shot from Nagflo.
That should be illegal, quite frankly. I don't think that should be allowed. Echoing your point about the Basilisks, though, the more I watch this team, the more I think these guys are like, they play like Bournemouth, and they play like Bournemouth very, very consistently. They are a proper top-tier threat. You know, I think I fully underestimated them coming into this. I must admit, hadn't heard much of them or anything, and, you know, to be one of the last 2 German teams in the tournament is itself very impressive. To be giving the German team that everyone expected to go far in the tournament an actual proper run for their money here is, if anything, even more impressive. Nagflo showing that he won't go down without some fantastic plays, but Basilisks really, like I say, anything from this point I feel they can be properly happy with.
Yeah, definitely, but it is a lead for Berlin Phoenix in this game, although it might not last long. Or Nagflo was able to get there in the nick of time. It's just Tigray back, but if there was anyone to make a save as the last man back, you would expect it to be kind of that star man Tigray. Quint with a bit of a booming shot, but not quite the placement he would have wanted, collected by Mocky. Tigray now with a block, able to get that second touch into the midfield. Chaos on the defense at the moment, but Mocky able to half flip and get that one clear for the time being. Here comes Yato following up on his teammate's touch. It's over one. Can he beat out Tigray here? Oh, not quite. Tigray at that near post, just holding firm. Here comes Sherma. Yato not going to turn for this one. It's going to be Mocky with a shot on target, almost caught out. Tigray not able to get the block again, and some sustained pressure coming out once more for the Basilisks. They're just turning it round in the midfield and going straight back at them.
They've been playing again, you know, despite being down, they're not letting the occasion get to them. They're not chasing the lead. You know, you see a lot of teams I think would be desperately trying everything they can to get one goal back, and then they'd be down two all of a sudden. But the Basilisks are playing relatively patiently, doing well. That's a horrible bounce for Nagflo to read. He hasn't read it, but nor has Sherma. Big chance for the Basilisks there. That's another awkward bounce. That's all the way on target, actually. Yato into the corner. Nagflo can't get a touch. Yato looking to pass it back. Doesn't get there. Tigray doesn't really control it well either. Sherma off the ceiling. Mocky's there looking long. Sherma's already there. Is that a shot? Is it a pass? It's a great shot. It didn't quite go in, but the Basilisks still playing such impressive Rocket League.
Yeah, they look absolutely exceptional at the moment, and at times definitely look better than Berlin Phoenix. I would say that the last minute they've looked better, and Berlin Phoenix, well, they never really quite look shaky, do they? But you know, they definitely look second best for a little bit there. And one thing the Basilisks are doing really well is playing that possession game. We saw Yato try it a while back, just trying to pass back to his teammate, and even, you know, hitting the ball what you would call the wrong way, just to try and, you know, stay in control and stop letting the Berlin Phoenix team play the game that they want to play. You know, if you can take control of possession and just control the way the ball is going like that from Yato, just a disruptive touch and a bump as well, you can start to create opportunities.
Yeah, and, you know, I think that's a recipe for success if you're the Basilisks, you know? Here we go again. Sherma looking for something fantastic. Is Yato going to be up quickly enough? Just about. But that's a touch from Quint that he wouldn't have wanted. Is Yato there in time? Not quite. Into the corner it goes. Time ticking down for the Basilisks here. They need something sooner rather than later. Nagflo getting on the Quint, gets the demo apologies, and Tigray doesn't quite get the shot. But time really not on the Basilisk side now. They need something soon. That's not what they need. Tigray puts the nail in the coffin for game 3. But it must be said, if you're the Berlin Phoenix, I think you might feel like you've squeaked one by here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a ball chase there from Tigray, but, you know, if it works, it works. Took it from one side to the other. Almost looked like a 1v1 as the other two players from Berlin Phoenix were completely absent on that play, and Tigray off the ceiling was able to find the shot. Not able to find that one, but I don't think it's going to matter. 2-goal lead was enough for Phoenix, and crucially, despite all the offense that was put up by the Basilisks in that game, and as creative as it was, they were able to shut them out in that game.
It's interesting, though, looking at the stats, would you have suspected that the Phoenix outshot the Basilisks 10-7? It feels like the Basilisks had the vast majority of decent offensive pressure for me in that game, even though the Phoenix obviously ended up 2 goals to the good. It certainly in that middle portion, the Basilisks seemed to be the ones asking all the questions, and right at the end it was a Phoenix breakaway that sort of sealed up that game for them. But it's really promising from the Basilisks again. They didn't come out on top that time, but they kept it close right till the very end. They had to chase that lead with time ticking down. They concede a second, it's not a big deal. So, I really am very impressed with them from their side. The Phoenix are not underperforming, I don't think, by any standard. It's the Basilisks stepping up here. And as we get into this game number 4, I really hope we've got a series on that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Berlin Phoenix look as you would expect, but you would definitely have to say that the Basilisks are overperforming right now, although another early goal going to go in from Quint here. Picks this one up. Demos Yato going for that ball as well, and straight over the top of Sherma, off the crossbar, off the post, slowly into the net, but in is what matters, and 5 seconds gone. That's not a good position for the Basilisks.
It isn't, but, you know, it hasn't seemed to phase them so far. You know, against the Phoenix, you'd probably expect to play a decent amount of the time from behind. Didn't seem to bother them that last game. Obviously, they never really managed to get that chance to turn it round, but they didn't panic. I liked that from them, you know. It wasn't a sort of chasing the game kind of mentality that they adopted until they really had to. So hopefully they can keep their composure again. They've got loads of time on the clock, as long as they don't...
Oh, wow.
See
As long as they don't do that, is that what you're going to say?
Yeah. It's
Well,
alright. You can make a Twitter video about me, Ryan, if you like.
I mean, in that instance, or with that kind of passing play,
it's
yeah,
pass.
it's that is exactly what we know Berlin Phoenix for. You know, Quint there in an awkward spot. Oh, it might have been Tigray actually over to Quint. Sorry, but it's just kind of the heads up plays like that to be able to think on the spot and improvise a pass, and it worked so well. Quint as well. You know, you've got to be able to shoot if you want to score ones like that, and he definitely showed that he's capable of doing that. Although in Phoenix, they had a bit of a wobbly moment there. They might have another one here as a shot going to be put on by Sherma, but Nagflow there trying to follow this one as well. Going to get the 50-50 dunk. Here comes Quinn over towards Nagflow, not onto the backboard. Going to get the second touch though and bait out one of the defenders. Bumps happening left, right, and center. It's Yato trying to carry it away now towards Nagflow, but Quinn going for that challenge. No boost, takes the mid boost on that left-hand side. It's definitely Berlin Phoenix that feel like they've got control of those mid boosts, as we see Nagflow taking the other one. So that will definitely, once Berlin Basilisks get into that opposing half, will leave them quite flat-footed.
Yeah, and it was almost a very good pre-flip shot from Yato, but like you say, the limited boost means that that offensive passage had to go somewhere sooner rather than later, although it was always going to sort of fall down a bit, and so it did. Sherma looking to clear it long. That's again off the ceiling, been the Basilisk's nemesis so far. Tried to get the touch, now fell off the backboard, couldn't manage it. Yato's there, it's over him, so here we go. Quint downfield, can Tigray find him? Maybe, that's off the ceiling a bit harder than he'd like, so Moki gets to clear away. Sherma just doesn't quite get the clean beat on the ball, so Yato needed to put it into the corner, but there is Tigray. Again, the Basilisks seem to be losing out on that boost game, and it's stopping them from putting on meaningful offense at the minute.
Yeah, although they do get a mid boost here, and it is a 1v2. Looking for the bump there was Sherma. Didn't quite find it. Two players went for that bump in the end. I think if Sherma had just been a bit more patient there and let Yato go for that bump, then maybe they could have found something, but they just kind of rushed themselves a bit too much and didn't coordinate the counter-attack, and I think that's, in the end, why the defense was able to hold firm. But they are still asking questions here as Tigray on limited boost is forced into a touch off the backboard, but still not clear from Berlin Phoenix. Now a 50-50 comes through, only as far as Moki though, and he might get back to this one. Doesn't have too much boost left in the tank. Tigray just takes that one touch, passes it down over to Nagflow. Here is Quinn linking up so quickly, but weren't able to get that final touch. It's over the top. Tigray, it's off the bar, and it is fired in off a pinch by Yato.
And just such creative offense from the Basilisks. Every shot they produce is a wonder to behold, and the end product wasn't overly pretty, you know, a little scramble towards the goal line, but my goodness, was the setup a beautiful thing to behold. I mean, it's just every time you think, well, we've seen all they can do, surely they must just bring out one of their old plays again, and every time it's something new.
Yeah, so they're trying to send one over to that left-hand side. It looks like it's going to be Quint in control of this one. Still has a decent amount of boost. Comes off the ceiling, gets it over one. Nagflow was looking for the doink. Can Quint score? No. Sherma back in the nick of time. Yato just playing disruptive, but Nagflow there shooting behind the defense, able to restore that 2-goal lead.
100%. You know, it's just a disruption. Tigray peaks up, and that's a brilliant pass from him. You know, it's the mark of a good player, you can make yourself look good. The mark of a great player, you make your teammates look good. Nagflow probably had no idea that ball was even coming to him until Tigray said, I'm going to hit this at you. And all he had to do was jump, basically, and it was just in the back of the net. Such a pitch-perfect pass from Tigray meant that he had very little to do, and that's what the Phoenix do really well. You know, they make each other look good with their pinpoint passing, with their brilliant team plays, and that's why they're so difficult to beat. The Basilisks now, time not so much on their side, and that might be a 3-goal deficit. Moki makes the save. Actually, this could be reduced to 1. Nagflow with a brilliant recovery. Again, the Basilisks need something soon because time really running out for them.
Yeah, finding themselves in the same position as the previous game, 3-1 down, and looking for you know, that 2-goal comeback. Oh my goodness, Quinn, that was
Yeah.
an exceptional drop down. Yato going to find himself in possession, giving it to Sherma. Great pass back there, but Yato didn't have any boost left in the tank to continue that ground play. Here comes Tigri over the top, and Nagflo was looking for the bump, and I think even as Tigri went up for that was a bit of a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, there's not much you can do as Sherma there. You double jump for that, and Nagflo's just going to pop you straight back down to the ground. It was a brilliantly engineered play from the Phoenix. You know, these guys obviously played together a very long time. They know what they're doing. It's that kind of synergy that I think can get a team, you know, and the Basilisk has shown brilliant synergy together as well. And it's just, like you say, you know, the Phoenix are, I think, just a little bit of a cut above at the minute. And the fact that the Basilisks have produced such a strong display against them is promising, but they're going to be 5-1 down here. They will need 3 games in a row to turn this series around, which, even for a team that's been playing as well as they are, might be a bit of a tall order.
Yeah, despite Basilisks looking at about 110%, it is going to be onto match point, and it does start to feel like maybe the floodgates are opening a little bit of 4-goal cushion now from Berlin Phoenix, and you would have to say in this game they have made it look quite easy. You know, it wasn't it didn't feel like a struggle for them. Maybe at times when they were on defense they had a few shaky moments, but honestly on offense they just looked to be superior to everyone else left in the competition right now, and that includes the Berlin Basilisks.
Yeah, it does, you know, and I think this is not a surprising result, but perhaps the magnitude of the fight that the Basilisks have been putting up is really good for, you know, for us to watch, not only, but also for them, for fans of them at home. You know, they will be, you know, if they can't manage to turn this 3-game deficit around, they'll be going down to face Bournemouth, the team we saw play first on stream tonight. And I won't lie, you know, not to preempt my prediction time, if I get there on Championship Sunday, I think they could have a very good shot against that Bournemouth side. You know, unless they come out really hot straight away, this Basilisks team, they're not, you know, you'll not get a free game against them, put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess why not? I'll talk about that series right now. It seems like it's destined to happen, and I agree with you. It really will depend on what Bournemouth we get. Like, yeah. They looked exceptional against Salford in that NSC Grand Final. Yeah. I said at the time that I'd never seen a UK team play better in domestic competition, and I stand by that. I agree
with you, yeah, 100%.
Ever since, they've just fallen off a little bit. You know, yeah. It's kind of like it almost feels like they've climbed to the top of the mountain, and someone has built a scaffolding on top of it that they now have to ascend. And, yeah. You know, they've used every kind of bit of energy to get to the summit, and now they've got this little bit more. So, yeah, it really could be an interesting series, as I'm sure that the Berlin Basilisks, who look inevitably like they're going to lose this one, will want to get back to the grand final and have this rematch.
I won't lie, I am, you know, very, very impressed with this Basilisk side. I beforehand would perhaps have, I mean, someone can go and have a look at my predictions and have a look at how little I expected of them, perhaps. I'm sure it wasn't even, I would wager it probably wasn't even this. I didn't see them that much in groups. I was impressed. I was impressed enough to think that they'd get to the knockouts, which they did, but to get this far and then to play this Berlin team with the, you know, the poise, the presence of mind, the caliber of offense that they've put on, yes, they might not take this series, but there's some really promising stuff going forward for the Basilisks here. Phoenix, Nagflo, an uncharacteristic miss there. He's got the demo though, so Tigre, in it goes, out it goes, Yato straight away, Moki. It's a key touch actually, but Nagflo's already up there so quick on that. The Basilisk, where's the shots coming off the backboard? Sherma makes the clear. Yato looking for a long bomb. He doesn't have any boost, so he's not going to get it, but Sherma might pop it back. Never mind. No boost anywhere on the Basilisks though. Like you say, the offense is so hard to put together when the boost game is already lost.
Yeah, although a cheeky little steal there. They weren't able to stay on offense for very long though, but should be, you would say, a fairly comfortable defense here. Yato with plenty of boost off the backboard, and they're going to be attacking down this left-hand side. Quint with a backflip just to hold things up, ends up in possession as well, but passing pretty much to nobody. Here comes Moki, but again, no boost. Not going to get the mid one either. Gets it now, but a little too late there. Sherma trying to get this one over the top of Tigri, but Big 50-50 coming through. Here comes Nagflo to take over. It's onto the backboard, but no double touch from him. Miss on the defense. Sherma sending this one high, just trying to allow his teammates to come back in, which they do. Yato clear over to the side, and now it's Tigri just giving the Basilisks a taste of their own medicine, being that little bit ball chasey and just getting those disruptive touches, which are now starting to really throw a spanner in the works for that flow that the Berlin Basilisks had.
Yeah, I think that was epitomised there by the fact that key offensive push, Mocky just accidentally bumped his teammate out of the way and then tried to capitalise on an opportunity that he couldn't manage to make work. It was the first time we've really seen them get antsy on offense. They've normally played with a lot of, elegance and done really well with passes like that. Yato cruelly denied a brilliant finish by Quint, who's now going for an air dribble. He'll get up to the backboard but get bumped out of the way. So Yato clears long again. Really good work from him. Tigray, there's the nice bump from Quint, hiding his anger at the fact he was denied off the backboard. Tigray looking to make amends. Sherma's up. Sherma gets it clear. Again, it's only one goal, but as time ticks down, you think it might become more. The Basilisks will have to push to try and turn it around, and that is obviously when you lose more, you concede further, and it's not a bad thing, they have to push. If this happens, it's not the end of the world, but they are looking down the barrel of a defeat at the minute.
Yeah, they're starting to be outspared. Tigri again with that disruptive touch off their own backboard, no less. You do not expect a player to be there at that moment, and it just completely blew the defense wide apart. So I think Berlin Phoenix, credit to them as well. They have managed to snuff out the danger that the Basilisks have been putting up, and also they've managed to improve their offense to a point where a lot of their attacking is pretty undefendable at the moment. Here comes Mocky though with a flick over to the side. Yato going to take his time on this one. Here is Sherma, but beaten to it once again by Tigri, leaving a bit of an open net and having to retreat back. Mocky getting a bit of a fortunate 50-50. Here is Tigri though, turning on a dime and demoing at Yato. Anyone up for this one? No, Nagflo going to leave this one, and Mocky giving away possession now are the Basilisks quite a bit. I talked about it in the first couple of games where they were getting touches just to try and stay in possession and stop Berlin playing their own game. But I feel like, if you want to call it a tug of war, it feels like Berlin have managed to kind of just pull that rope a bit more towards them and are now in control of that situation.
I really think they are, it's a bit of an awkward one for the Basilisks. They have to push, but that probably means they'll concede more. But it doesn't matter, the offense they've put together has been brilliant. Look at that pinch off the floor,
Wait,
Yato.
Nagflo is Nagflo AFK here?
Yes,
He is.
I think so. He was quick chatting, so I'm a little bit confused as to what's just occurred. I'm not sure. We saw a flurry of quick chat activity in the game just then. I didn't see what caused it. Nagflo now completely AFK, but he doesn't look to be experiencing any issues that we can
So we got his director cam. That's amazing.
There you
Why
go.
is it on
You
his
can have a
view?
look at him sunbathing, but I mean,
He's back now. There he is.
Back. He is back. No lag issue. Not sure what occurred there, but I'm not sure it's going to make much difference to the outcome of the thing. Mocky asking if that was BM. Maybe it was. Who knows? Maybe one of the world's unsolved mysteries. Mocky looking for something at the end. Yato. Off it goes. There we go. This could be it, I think. If this ball drops, of course, it will be it. There it is. The Phoenix win. It was always, I think, the most likely outcome. I wanted the Basilisks to put up a fight. They did put up a fantastic fight. Even if some of the games didn't end up being that close, it's a credit to them that they managed to take the Phoenix this far to, dominate, really. They did a game 2 like they did. Is a fantastic sign for them going forward. We'll see them again on Championship Sunday, but the Phoenix still looking nearly unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, I want to compare this series to one we saw previously. I believe, I can't remember if it was against Salford or Kiel, so I'm just going to go with it was against one of them. But it was like, It was the first time we saw Berlin Phoenix on stream, and they absolutely wiped the floor with that UK team. I believe there were like 7 goals in one game at one point, and I don't know. I wasn't expecting that, but I knew it could happen in this series. You know, to see a game like that where it was only 2 goals for Berlin and Phoenix, and obviously Basilisks taking a game completely on merit as well.
Yeah.
I said right at the start, and when we were making predictions, even if it was 4-1, the Basilisks could be really happy with that. And honestly, the way that they played, I believe that they can, you know, take away a lot of positives from that series.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always hard. They'll come back and look over these things, and I'm sure, you know, like with any team, if you look over your own replays, you see the worst in yourself. You say, I could have done this better, I could have done that better. I really feel like the Basilisks can be really pleased with what they've done just then. You know, Berlin Phoenix are, I think, the team that 90% of people would have predicted to win the whole thing. You know, it's so hard to go up against them, even if you do have that experience domestically, playing them regularly. You know, in a long series like this as well, you know, you see more upsets when the series length is shorter. It's so hard for them, and they put on a fantastic show. They scored, I think, most of the great goals. I think it's fair to say, you know, the Phoenix were clinical. They took their opportunities. You look back on that and you think, oh, what were all of the great goals? You think of the air dribbles in Game 2 from Yato and Sherma. You know, they were fantastic. They were playing some absolute lights out Rocket League, and I look forward to seeing more of them on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, me too. And that is going to be it for tonight. We're not going to sign off just yet. We are going to throw to a short break, but then we will be going through that bracket. And Sunday, it's absolutely stacked. So we will be talking about that very shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the EURC broadcast, the tail end of the penultimate broadcast of EURC 2021. We've just got 1 day left. Of course, I'm sure you've already got your calendar out, guys, haven't they? Or a big red circle on this very Sunday, of course, Sunday the 25th. That is when it's all going to go down. Of course, we just saw Berlin Phoenix, as predicted by 2 of our panel members, and in heart, probably, well, all of us, really. 4-1, really taking that series over the Berlin Basilisks. But to be fair, guys, I actually newcasted this. It was still a decent series, and I think the Basilisks bodes well for them going into this lower bracket.
Yeah, 100%. You know, you look at a team, you sort of have to knock down your expectations a peg or 10 when you're facing the Berlin Phoenix. It's, they're just that good. And the Basilisks came out, played some absolutely fantastic Rocket League. I would say had a large proportion of the great offense, particularly. Their creativity was impressing me constantly throughout that series. And I think, like you say, very, very promising for them going forward. I think they have every chance of making a good run in on Sunday.
Yeah, and of course we did say goodbye to two teams in the lower bracket today, Ryan. FHDW and Beckett Bears both falling 4-2 at the hurdle, but they'll get a top 8 finish here in EURC, and I think for both of them teams, they can go home proud of that.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I mean, FHDW made it a lot further than a lot of people would have thought to make top 8. And I mean, coming up against Bournemouth, winners of the domestic competition in the UK, they would have really struggled to win that. So I think 4-2 for them as well is a pretty respectable scoreline. So yeah, I think they can, bow out with their heads held high, and so too can the Beckett Bears, another respectable 4-2 scoreline. I think that was probably as far as they could have got in the competition, but they've had a great season domestically and in Europe, and also the improvement that they've made throughout this academic year has probably been the most that we've seen from kind of any team in our domestic league back in the UK. So yeah, big props to Beckett Bears for the work that they've put in over the year and over the split, and unfortunate loss, but what can you do really?
Yeah, that's fair enough. If it were Sunday League, they'd get the most improved player. They'd get that little trophy to take home. And I mean, we spoke about Bournemouth. They move on to the lower quarterfinals. And of course, the team they'll be playing is Basilisks Berlin. And Basilisks Berlin looked pretty strong today. Bournemouth, of course, as expected, looked strong. But I don't know about you, Ashnell, but coming into that series, I am worried to predict either team because I could see it going either way.
I think Orion mentioned it on our cast just now. It's going to be which Bournemouth we see. Is it going to be the Bournemouth that wants to come in and win and take things seriously, or is it going to be the Bournemouth that's in it for some great clips and, some fantastic montage plays and in for a good laugh? I think the Basilisks definitely have what it takes. The Bournemouth side, they can't do what they just did tonight against FHDW. They will not get away with it. They just, that's not a series you can afford to just say, it's okay, we'll try and get something good and we'll go again next game. That Basilisk side will punish that 100%. Like you say, would be worried to predict either game. I would, however, be tempted to lean towards Basilisks if I had to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's hard to predict against the UK domestic champions right now, but I can certainly see why you would. Basilisks do really look strong and have done all tournament long. That game will be certainly one of the first shown from that lower bracket on Championship Sunday. This Sunday, of course, that'll start about 3 p.m. BST, so 4 p.m. Central European time. The other lower quarterfinal, Orion, is Erasmus Esports Rotterdam against the Salford Lions. Not a matchup we've seen in this tournament, but what a matchup it will surely be.
I don't know. I think it might be a bit of an anticlimax, to be honest with you. Salford have looked good against Martinis and Beckett Bears, but I think Rotterdam are one of those teams in this tournament that is kind of just that cut above, And I worry that Salford facing that team might go the same way as what happened with Bournemouth in the NSE Grand Final. I don't know. I would have to see on the day, but going into that series, it really could go either way. I think one of two things will happen. Either Rotterdam will just completely take the series away from Salford in the same way that Bournemouth did in the Grand Final of NSE, or Salford will really make a series of it and it will go the distance. But I would really struggle to predict that one, basically just because I still never really know what Salford is going to show up. Like, part of me thought that they might not even win that series against the Beckett Bears, and now they find themselves against Rotterdam, who are a cut above that Beckett Bears team. So yeah, a little bit worried for Salford in that one.
They're worried they might make a mess of it, like your drinks bottle.
Yes. Yep. So we don't talk about it though, do we?
Okay,
I didn't even notice. So
you didn't.
I'm sorry to alert the attention to it. Actually, no, we'll pretend that didn't happen, because of course the upper bracket series, the Berlin Phoenix, I think almost all would have predicted them making it to this upper bracket final, but they're joined maybe unexpectedly by the Portsmouth Paladins, already securing themselves a top 3 finish. I mean, that series, we've seen certainly Phoenix been tested to an extent here. They've already dropped a game. They said they wanted to sweep the final bracket when we talked to Quint. They've already failed at that. Do you think the frustration will make them try and do things right? Or do you think it's a sign of things to come?
I mean, again, I remember when we were last on this desk doing a close-up, we were talking about Portsmouth as earlier stage. Obviously, we felt like we'd missed Portsmouth. We said, actually, because obviously they had that forfeit win against Bournemouth that time. They didn't show up, so they just got pushed through, came in through the upper bracket. It was just, a bit of a mystery almost that they managed to make it through, and we didn't really know what to expect from them. I'll be honest with you, then I was unavailable last week and I missed their series against Rotterdam. So
what a series it was.
It looks obviously from 7 games. I caught bits of it in the highlights later on, but it doesn't seem to me to be screaming, yes, we're going to beat the Berlin Phoenix. I think, obviously they're a very, very talented team, perhaps one that you could argue domestically fell a bit short of what might have been expected of them.
Yeah.
That will, I think, be lingering on their minds. They'll have a point to prove. They can, I think most of the teams, all of the teams left in this tournament could beat the Berlin Phoenix. You would just have to predict the Phoenix more often.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very fair point. The fun thing being that, that upper bracket final is almost a precursor to the grand final. Portsmouth would have to do it twice, but certainly the grand final is when it matters. So maybe that takes a bit of pressure off their upper bracket final.
Practice
I'm sure,
run.
95% of the time we'd expect Berlin Phoenix to get to the grand final. But the last question I want to ask you two today here is, personally, Orion, what team do you think will be the one making it to that grand final to play them?
I'm going to go with Berlin Basilisks, honestly.
Okay.
I am unfortunately turning my back on my UK teams, of which 3 of them are left, which is, big up to the UK teams.
Yeah.
3 of them in the top 6 will definitely take that over here. But given what I have just seen and the fact that, that they were the first team to take a game off Berlin Phoenix on merit and keep things reasonably close, you would say. I think the Basilisks, if they continue to show up and play that in the same way and don't feel the pressure going forwards in the bracket, I think they can make it all the way back to that grand final and we'll see a rematch of that game we just saw on stream.
Oh, that's fair enough. And Atchel, how about you? Because I feel like that's a fair enough, and you could definitely make a fair case for all of these teams remaining, right?
100%. I think, obviously this is the beauty of a finals day. You get to see these teams. There's always the chance of a miracle run from a team you might not have backed to make it, going all the way to the final and then cracking out the Berlin Phoenix just for good measure. I think if I was a betting man, I would be siding with Orion here. I've got to say, from what I've just seen of the Basilisks, I think they are the most likely team to make it through that lower bracket. I would argue actually that they would, the kind of play that they have, they will struggle more against a team like Salford or Rotterdam coming off from that other side than, say, for example, you look at, Portsmouth maybe coming into that lower final. I think of the two, their harder match will be against a team like Salford or Rotterdam. Personally, I see that being Rotterdam. And I think then, whichever team makes it to Portsmouth, it will be harsh for Portsmouth. They'll have come with a loss earlier that very day into that lower final. I think Portsmouth will struggle to turn that around. But I have to pick Basilisks.
That's fair. I'd like to believe in Portsmouth. Honestly, I think this will be their redemption arc. I think they're happy with top 3 no matter what. I'd like to think they've proven it and they don't have much to lose at this point. I'd like to believe in them, but of course, we'll only find out on Championship Sunday. Of course, like I say, that will be starting at 3 p.m. BST. That's 4 p.m. Central European Time. We're here at the top 6 of EURC right now, the business end. Of course, some fall short. You talk about the Groningen teams missing out. Dusseldorf missing out. Kiel's entire season was about them missing out. And of course, there is ones like the skeleton meme at the bottom of the pool, where you've got like UEA and Birmingham Badgers who didn't even make it to the playoff bracket entirely. And what a tournament it's been, and what a finale it's going to be on Sunday. I'll be there. I'm sure we'll all be there, and hopefully we'll be seeing you there as well. I hope you've enjoyed the broadcast here. I know we've enjoyed it too. Thank you very much for joining us, and of course, we'll see you on Sunday.